puta madre. A mí si me mandan los humanes les hago un cagadero caliente. Aquí no está pelada, yo ando y cuido a los jefes.
La paciencia no es lo mío, yo le rezo al diablo y también a la muerte. No más unos cuantos saben, a mí me gusta la cerveza caliente.
Me gustan los carros de velocidad, la neta no hay dos como el Shelby. A la orden de Archibaldo maneamos todo el que se ponga renuente.
Sin tener que ir a volar, mi piloto y un baby por las nubes siempre. Cuando ando en la calle cargo equipo y a mi compadre chambeando al frente.
Si no quieres no, si no
Hello,
quieres
hello,
no,
hello to all the early birds. We will be starting very soon.
El pelo largo y con un reloj.
Today I felt like a South American Balkan boy, so that's why we're listening to this random beat.
Échale componetón. Su puta madre.
Oh, puta madre, thank you very much, Dylan Wesley, for the sub. Welcome back, my beautiful child soldier.
Con la sangre fría, los nervios al tiro y fumando bien mata gente. Ahí me ven en la capi, siempre bien pendiente.
Montado en la laminada pa' que los tiros pura verga no se entren. Puro comanche bravo, no la piensan dos veces. Y pa' mencionar, siempre ando al millón. Una güera y una prieta, no la jueguen mucho que sacó el dragón. Si no es de uva, que sea de coco, pero que sea lavada. Si no quieres no.
Si no quieres no, si no quieres no. Nos ven en vergüenza por el sin control.
El pelo largo y en un llenón. Trae los vidrios duros y adentro un tosto.
Hello, hello, everybody. We will be beginning in a couple of minutes. Let me go take a quick piss. Thank you all for being here. And then we start a Wednesday that will feel like a motherfucking Friday. In the meanwhile, enjoy Shakewell, Leg Lock, a fucking classic at this point.
I quit popping sticks, so sipping red drop. Twin Glock, bitch, you ain't a thug, you ain't in jam pop. Red dot, I'ma keep on stalking till it's neck pop. Feds rock, I can't be caught slipping, so the feds hot. Red drop, I quit popping sticks, so sipping red drop. AR pistol, I love how a whole Glock clips. Ass shot, let that thotty twerk, bitch, we can't lock lip. First thing first, I'm a trapper, rapping con second. Bitch, you better go and get your first, I'm busting any second. Leg lock, I'ma throw little shorty in a leg lock. Headshot, ain't got cash on deck, I'm throwing headshot. Bread rock, millies in the dirt, I think I'm mail chop. Oh, keep a Glock full, oh, 10 milli big hole. Free my Uncle Ricardo, gave him 6 in Mexico. He gon' keep his chin up, got be watching on his soul. Mason out in Texas, doing 5 for trapping bows. I'm still about my paper, who got work for the low. Got more perks than the stove, got more drink than the dock. Used to sip and cut, I'm mixing tech with a rock. You claim you was gang, but why you acting like a cop? If I see the paperwork, then I'm gon' put 2 in your twin Glock. Bitch, you ain't a thug, you ain't in jam pop. Red dot, I'ma keep on stalking till it's neck pop. Feds walk, I can't be caught slipping, so the feds hot. Red drop, I quit popping sticks, so sipping red drop. Twin Glock, bitch, you ain't a thug, you ain't in jam pop. Red dot, I'ma keep on stalking till it's neck pop. Feds walk, I can't be caught slipping, so the feds hot. Red drop, I quit popping sticks, so sipping red drop.
Thank you very, very much to SGT Num for the sub with Prime for 2 months. Thank you very much, and thank you for starting the beautiful Choo Choo Hype Train. So we might as well begin today's regular motherfucking episode with yours truly. It is Wednesday, but with me, every day feels like a motherfucking Friday. How are we doing, my beautiful, beautiful regulars? It is a nice day over here. I'm exactly 1 year older. This, what was it? This Monday, I celebrated my 18th birthday, my 30th birthday, my 45th birthday, my 66th birthday. It is on you to decide how old you are, not the little age that stands in your passport or ID card. But yes, it was very nice. It was very chill. I only did it with my girlfriend and my dad. I wanted to keep a small company this year. I didn't want to go all out the way I usually do. But still, on Saturday, I'll get some IRLs together, and we're gonna go out, do the classics. But usually I get a lot of people together. I rent out a house or something somewhere, and then we go completely ham. But this year, I'm adulting properly. I'm preparing myself for my 30s, which is very terrifying, but it's still far away. Actually, I was never really afraid of the whole fucking age thing. Maybe that will change the older I get. Ever since I turned like 22, 23, I told myself, dude, you're 30 now. So every consecutive year didn't really feel like much of a jump, because still in my head, I consider myself 30. When I turn 30 something, I'll tell myself, yo, now you're 40. So every consecutive year will not really feel like much. And I'm going to continue doing that with the rounding out the number, but with a higher number, probably for the rest of my life, because if it works, don't fix it. A girlfriend had to go to her home country for an unknown amount of time, feeling like shit. Thanks for streaming right now and taking my mind off of things. It is my absolute pleasure. I spent 8 or 9 days without the girlfriend last week, and I literally turned into a sloth demon, okay? Praise women for existing in man's lives, because without them, we would literally just become a KFC bucket and an empty bottle of whiskey, okay? We would do nothing 24/7. Our apartments would slowly turn into organic matter that comes down on itself, because there was no external eye to look at us and make us feel shame. It is thanks to the woman that the straight cis man actually does anything in life, because without the female gaze, we are but nothing. Obviously, I don't believe that, but there is a certain amount of argumentation there, as plenty of philosophers to whom I subscribe have said throughout the ages, my dear friends, masculinity is defined through the prism of the woman. So even the thing that we cherish so much, which is our masculinity, etc., it has always been defined in our relationship, our relation to women, at least when talking about straight dudes. Yes, very good. Asmunds Gunkev. Yes, that man is a perfect example of what happens if you do not if you're a straight dude and you do not interact with a woman for a very long period of time. Every single one of us would turn into him. He's kind of the NPC definition of what a man becomes when he gets literally -5 bitches. Okay. But anyways, it's Wednesday. Today we have plenty of topics to cover. That was my small little update. Yesterday pretty much just did the gym and was hangover, obviously, from Sunday. Drank a nice bottle of Macallan 12. Smoked 2 very nice stoogies. It was a proper, as I like to say, a single malt socialist experience. I don't understand why they call us champagne socialists anymore. It's fucking stupid. We don't even drink champagne. We drink things that are actually worth the amount of money necessary. Žene drže pol nebo. Da, žene drže pola neba. Exactly. But yeah, still haven't smoked any cigarettes, so that's pretty much a whole year that I have not touched a cigarette. That's another update. I'm kind of pretty happy about that. Been going straight to the gym for at least 3 to 4 days a week, which is another kind of what do you Americans call it? Birthday resolution that I kind of managed to satisfy. The next thing I kind of have to get rid of, I guess, to an extent, are Zins. Even though I got the best ones by now. Okay, I wish they actually paid me money. So these Velos are okay. But this is actually really good. This is unironically Ace X Super White, okay? Be careful if you have melanin. You probably cannot consume these. The reason it says Super White is because it's only for melanin deficient palm colored people, okay? But Ace X, really good shit. Really good shit. It really isn't gorko. It's not, it doesn't fuck with your throat. It's very sweet. It's just, it's very good. Nicotine gum, yeah, nicotine pouches or whatever. But I call them all Zins. The way, like, you don't actually call diapers, you call them pampers, right? So that's how Zin managed to brand itself as the whole fucking thing. But yeah, thank you for the hype train, which is past to level 1, but still, thank you very much for the subs. And that's enough about me. How you doing, chat? I see all the classics from Liz Kiss to the Good Lenin to the Gay Lenin to Figgy to Hank to CMS in chat to Eco Waves, of course. Very good to see the mods here. You share a birthday with the Virginia Tobacco Commission. Oh, really? You're born on the 12th of August. That is peculiar. Let me see. I mean, 25 years ago, all the stars came together to create the Tobacco Commission. Incredible, but it didn't die. It was born, so you can't say we're the same person. I'm actually the Tobacco Commission, just completely reborn. Hey, finally managed to catch a stream. Welcome, a beautiful child soldier. Today is going to be a fun one. We're probably going to talk a lot about theory, about the different interpretations of capitalism, of life under it, of death even. I saw that Philosophy Tube made a very good video, made a video on the topic, but it's Philosophy Tube. So it's going to be a very good one. It's a long one. So today I want you to get comfortable. I want you to get cozy. I want you to plug those headphones in or increase that volume and just listen to my disgusting, grunting voice cover beautiful voices of fellow comrades all over the spectrum. The communist spectrum, the leftist spectrum, probably the autism spectrum as well. Thank you very much to Uncanny Trickster. Welcome, my dear friend. Thank you very much for the sub. And thank you, Gabriel, for the 100 bits. Happy birthday to us August babies. Oh, you're a fellow Leo. You're a fellow egomaniac. Very good to hear. My zodiac signs, by the way, chat, is double Leo. Like, I am an actual double Leo. You have two signs, and it's already fucked up that you're a Leo because you think the whole world revolves around you, which is an objective fact in my case, but for the rest of the Leos, it's kind of, lying to yourself. But I'm a double Leo, so I'm double toxic, okay? But anyways, okay. I am the 24th of August, so I'm a day when it becomes Virgo. Okay, virgin behavior, no comment. You see, that's the beautiful allegory between Leos and Virgos. It is so close. The difference between a lion and a virgin is so tiny, yet it is a seed that no Moises jebote, kako se kaže, Moses can part. Double Leo, but then a mouse in China. Yeah, I think I'm a pig in China or something. Double Leo means everything actually is about you. Yeah, it confirms all my previous suspicions that actually, I am the only one that's alive and everybody else is NPCs. And the only reason the world has gotten us together here in this chat, in this Twitch stream, is because you're the only other fellow main characters. We're all main characters, but we have geographically been redistributed so that we can play our own part of the game properly. Everybody outside of this chat, NPC, okay? Go and call your mom an NPC later, or your partner, okay? Because they are not in this chat. Leo equals solipsism. Exactly. Libras, no love. No, I like Libras. ML astrologism, yeah. The true materialist analysis without the inclusion of in-depth perspective on how the day and hour you were born in influences the rest of your life is not really a materialist perspective in my book, okay? Here we stand, the Crystal Queens. Thank you very much, Gabriel, for 100 bits. Actually, my Chinese zodiac sign matches my personality properly. Guess I need to be a Maoist. Yeah. reject the Chinese revisionist, Dengist approach to zodiac signs. Embrace true Aryan, white, Western zodiac signs that we kind of stole from Asia as well, but we'll never admit to it, especially if you are a suburban white mom. Anyways, so today we cover many things. Already snoozed the ads the maximum amount of time. So one will play in 1 minute and 10 seconds. I don't know why it played so early in the stream. Oh, yeah, because of the introduction thing. If you would like to support this show and have an adless experience and also tell me happy birthday, I guess, please do consider becoming a sub for $6 a month or for free through Prime and enjoying just that, an adless motherfucking experience. So as I said, today we're going to watch One Dime, the capitalist matrix, what everyone gets wrong. He's the king at making extremely unnecessarily complicated titles for very good videos, okay? We're going to be talking about the Wolf of Wall Street, and then we're going to be talking about death. You know, very light topics, but we'll also obviously cover the news when Democracy Now!, also known as Depression Now, depressionnow.com, with Amy Badman releases today's episode. I love how I started writing Depression Now, Democracy Now. But we have to wait for them to come out with the latest news. So we're going to cover that. Happy birthday. Thank you. Happy birthday to you too, because when it's my birthday, it's your birthday. We're going to cover the news, but before that, I guess we can start with more general news, which is basically American electoral politics. Oh my God, thank you very much, Xi Jinping himself, for the gift sub. As we all know, whenever an anonymous gift sub comes in here, that means that Xi Jinping himself woke up and he was like, I have to give money to this streamer guy so that he says pro-China stuff. So we must all raise and salute Xi Jinping. Thank you very much for that gift sub. Thank you very much. You see, I am so important in the wider communist movement. Xi Jinping himself comes to my streams to say happy birthday through giftings. Thank you very much, Xi Jinping. We are here to suck on that CCPP for as long as we potentially can. Heil, 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 Heil Xi, Heil Ping, Heil the big CCPP in our mouth. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So, and we obviously have to cover current electoral politics. So I guess let's start easy. Let's start without the depression fuel to an extent. Let's start with The Daily Show. Jon Stewart on why Trump wants Biden back so badly is reusing his old attacks. Our second favorite liberal, Jon motherfucking Stewart. I used to be such a big fan of Jon Stewart as a kid. I mean, I still am to an extent, you know. You don't have to be such a fucking toxic, theory-brained fucking nerd. You can still enjoy things, and Jon Stewart is usually relatively on the right side of history, especially for such an ancient man. As we all know, all Americans which are over the age of 45 are basically over the age of 1,000 in the rest of the world. So Jon Stewart started most people on here, right? Exactly. He's a pretty decent, beginning of the funnel type of approach, because he doesn't like openly and actively denounce activists and in general people who call for not voting for the Democrats because they want to quote unquote push them further to the left. So as I say in my theory book in my theory video on which eventually I will make into a book on how the actual online radicalization pipeline for the left is supposed to look like. It's okay for you to even be a SOTSDEM, etc., etc. You are part of the pipeline as long as you are not actively discouraging people from pursuing more materialist analysis, okay? Jon Stewart is a good lib, yes. He only gets 2 weeks of re-education. We call straight from Moscow when he is in Gulag and we say, hey, you know that man and how you serve him one portion of disgusting food? Today and forever you will now serve him 2 portions of that disgusting food, okay? Because he is friend of state government. Da, очень хорошо. tweaks a bit, he would be out sooner for good behavior. Yes, he would. He would be livid, okay? He would be livid. This guy is putting on fucking, a brown leather jacket and calling himself the NKVD and going and executing every single other talk show host the second we get in power. What's my outfit for today? Today I'm going very, I don't know, borderline cyberpunkish. I got this. It's pretty cool. It's like you zip it up all the way to the top. You can keep it open, and it kind of looks like you look like Count Dracula. But you zip it up, and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to. I work as a mercenary, and I'm about to invade Bolivia to give it a lot of freedom. Okay. Just unfortunately with the mask, it doesn't really work that well when you zip it up because it looks weird, right? It looks weird, but you see how cool it goes all the way up. But when you're not wearing a mask like Yugopnik likes to LARP and you just keep it open, it's kind of a vibe as well. Okay. Remember, chat, abbreviating cyberpunk is a bannable offense. I think it actually works with the mask. You think it works when it's pulled up? It becomes a bit try-hard-ish. But okay, I'll keep it up. Now, okay, let's start with our favorite liberal or second favorite liberal after John Oliver to an extent, even though I have been a fan of this man for a generation. That shows just how old I am. You look like an anime character. I am, brother. I am. I always have been. Life in the Balkans is literally just anime. People try to look for anime culture by going to Japan, but they're just going to the country of the people that imagine living that way and then writing it down. The Balkans is an unironic fucking Death Note episode, just 24/7. Okay, and instead of a Death Note, we actually have knives. Balkanime, tako je, brate. Okay. Let's watch this. Let's learn more about the current state of affairs. I had a fucking blast watching the debacle, which was the Elon Musk Trump interview, Twitter going down, just the fail son overlord. And the weirdest thing was not even the DDoS comments and shit. It was like this guy who built his whole career on, hey, I will electrify the shit out of everything, and that's how we save the planet, goes and talks to the potential future president-elect of the United States and quite literally masturbates his opinions on oil. That was wild to me. He's like, yes, oil-based. Oh, you're the one candidate that is very much like environmental disaster, not really a thing, and oil very based. Me, the guy who sells electric cars, will support you only because I want to spite a bunch of fucking hot 19-year-olds that give me shit on Twitter. Because let's be honest, this is why he's doing it. He wants to fucking white knight being a billionaire because he doesn't want to admit to himself that he's a goddamn fucking what do you call it? That he's the actual problem. Mods, please, actually put the title of the thing, my loves. Why Trump wants Biden back. So, just instead of Jon Stewart, Trump wants Biden back, and then Jon Stewart, whatever. And thank you very much to the fucking OG here in chat, Barry Balls. Hi, chat. How's everyone doing? Also, happy belated birthday, Hugo. Thank you very much, Barry Balls. I love your balls in my mouth any day of the week. Okay, so. Ban that guy. He's being a fucking troll. Thank you. I love Slavog, whatever. He's just spamming. Thank you. Okay. Or just silence him. You don't have to ban him, but just very, very strange dude. Okay. Let's get right into this. It is Wednesday, 14th of August, and it is a good day because you're with Yugopnik, and it's going to feel more like a Friday. Elon Musk trying to own the libs in 2024 is crazy, especially when even Republicans have to admit climate change is real at this point. Trump said jokingly, sea level rise will give more beachfront property. Oh, yeah. I can't wait for Miami to turn into an overpriced and actually not aesthetically pleasing Venice. Venice Beach, more like actual Venice. That was not bad. That was 7 out of 10. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Adelie, for the 4th month sub. Thank you, my beautiful child soldier, and welcome back. Thank you for the support. Let's try and get to that beautiful 1,000 by the end of this month. Okay. Enough about this. Thank you again, Adelie. Let's get right into it. Let me just go. Much Necronichar, brate moj. Hi, yes, 7 months of spamming Yugopnik saluting in Twitch chats. Incredible. I mean, if that's not what you're doing with your day, then what are you even doing with your life? Welcome, my beautiful child soldier.
My interpretation, the caged bird is singing for Bitcoin. We do have a great show for you tonight. Mark Cuban is going to be joining us later. And,
Mark fucking Cuban. Mark fucking Cuban. So many compliments for this lovely gentleman that I love. And he's like, oh yeah, and later we interview a billionaire. Let's hear the opinions of a billionaire. Very important voice to platform right now. They don't really get a lot of platforming. We should really listen to a billionaire about what direction this election goes into. After we make fun of Trump for sitting down and talking to a cringe billionaire, we will sit down and we will talk to a cringe billionaire. Come on, John. I don't want to be a fucking hater here, but god damn it, man. Mark Gringo, more like Mark Cuban, more like Mark Gusano. Oh wait, that's a thing. Boy, he said, boy, because his ego can handle everything. His ego can handle him being called fascist boy. His ego can handle him being called a violent boy, a misogynist, a mass murderer. He can handle all of that. But a beautiful orange man really doesn't like when you call him weird. He really doesn't like that, and that hurts his feelings. Okay. Oh God! like if he was just my grandpa, I would actually feel sorry for him at this point, because the weirdness harp is like working too well. But he's not my grandpa. He's an insane fucking genocidal empire freak. So I do not feel bad. But yeah.
Relentlessly posting multiple times on
Orange Man small bean, but also strong man. Why call Orange Man small bean? Orange Man actually strong bean. He very strong orange bean. It is normal for orange to be color of bean. Ooh, please no call Big Bean Trump bad boy. Please don't call him weird. He just small. This so fucking long ago. I fucking called this like literally half a year ago. With when Biden was still running. The Republicans don't need to win this election. The Republicans can only lose this election. And that is exactly what they've been doing, one bad choice after another. If they manage to lose after an assassination attempt, after one of the most historic photos ever taken in history, after Trump played that fucking flute like a king guzzler, okay? I almost made a porn star joke, but it would be in bad taste because we're talking about Trump and porn stars, yes. But he guzzled that flute really well on everything. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And then he had to go and completely fail in his reaction to fucking pod broke. This is fucked. Probably unhealthy to put it in my mouth now, but I don't give a shit. They just didn't know how to react to Kamala running. That's it. And his VP is a fucking gorilla. Okay, that is not a human. That is not a human. That is a fucking monkey. Okay, that has absolutely no principles. That has no fucking ideology. That is simply a gorilla that will serve any human, which will give him enough bananas. That will give him more bananas than anybody else. That's what JD is, or in his case, not bananas, more couches to fuck. Okay.
right at the last minute.
Really proving that the only issue most people had with Biden was him being obviously senile. Yeah, we talked about this like 100,000 times. It's also a bit disappointing to see, and even the most moderate progressives over in the U.S., which is, they never really gave a shit about policy or about what Biden represented as, the further genocidal and war mania kind of direction that the Dems were taking. They only gave a shit about how representable the candidate is. And now the candidate is very representable. Ha ha, she's such a brat, and they're all back from brunch, and they support her with great honor, even though her policy is pretty much the same. Policy, I think you mean who has better vibes, obviously. Yeah. The vibe economy is really, really... Marx forgot to count on the vibe economy, okay? Very good. So these Ace X, again, very good shit.
Sit through him getting up to speed.
There are numerous ways of saying her name. You can say Kamala, you can say Kamala. Kamala.
Though all the libs are proving that they are okay with genocide now that they aren't voting for a cadaver. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Why though, my friend? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's the whole fucking thing. That's the whole fucking thing. And that is why it is exceedingly difficult for anybody not living in the U.S. to kind of feel for Americans. That really easily that, hey, right now she's just using her identity because that's what's going to get her elected. She's a political chameleon that readjusts to every single political situation in which she finds herself in. She had this opinion about borders, now she has another one. She had this opinion about mass arrests, now she has another one. Just play on her general hypocrisy. But, when you're a fucking ancient old white man whose whole PR team are fellow ancient racist old white men, then you're going to harp on the fucking race thing, which obviously was not a shot in the leg. That was, him sewing it off and shoving it up his ass. 20 times, 19 times, the dick worked. One time, it doesn't work. She tells all her friends. She never talks about how I fucked her 19 times and the penis worked. She only harps on the one time my dick didn't work. Literally, Trump, political career, it's about penis envy. It's all about penis envy. It's like Freud was correct all along. Everything is penis envy. Absolutely everything is penis envy. Penis envy politics, let's fucking go as the world crushes up emperor behavior. This is like hardcore emperor behavior. He's so high up into the fucking sky that he literally just treats masses of human beings as like, not even political points at this point, but like his own ego points. Like, oh, how big were the crowds? How many people came to vote? How hard did they shout my name? How much did they love me? How much did they cry? It's like emperor vibes. Like, I want to be the loved king. My French kingdom loves their king more than the English kingdom. Ha 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 ha. Because he never actually interacted with the peasants. Holy shit. Did he confuse himself with the fucking leader of Iran? He was like, wait, I am Lizard AI and I control all the presidential characters. Which one am I in now? Oh, is it the American one? I thought I was the fucking Iranian one. What is going on? Speaking about what is going on in exactly 2 minutes, you will stop hearing my voice, and you will start hearing shit like, McDonald's chicken nuggets, you need to buy one, consume one, eat one now. Nobody wants that. You want to continue listening to my voice, not some advertising. So, instead of watching that advertising in exactly 2 minutes, do consider becoming a sub for $6 or for free through Prime, or gifting it to someone less privileged than you and having an adless experience while supporting the show. Thank you for even considering it. The ad plays in 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Wonderful.
You were in a helicopter.
Subscriber.
Thank you, Philiusen. There you go immediately. Thank you for the Prime sub. Those epic cinematic moments when, two guys that are about to die know they're about to die, so they share something extremely private to each other, like, oh, I always really liked your pancakes even though I gave shit about them, or some shit like that. Well, or I always loved you, and then, they slowly kiss and touch, and I will miss you, blah, 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 and then, they die. In this scenario, it was literally them holding their hands and saying, yo, so was Kamala like a good fuck or like very mid? She was probably mid, right? And he's like, yeah, very mid. We're about to die now, though. Yep. Regular dude brain, okay? Dude brain. Thank you very much to Lazy K for the 5 gift subs and for saving 5 people from the horrors of ads. Everybody who got a gift sub from Lazy K, please say thank you. Thank you, Lazy K, as always, for supporting the show.
to your imminent death.
I find this very easy to goon through. Liz Kist, I swear to God. Oh, it was not bad. It was not bad at all. Man, he really misses him. He misses him so fucking much. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see such unadulterated love finding at such an old age. Just two straight men finally figuring out that their entire life was wasted and then dedicating whatever they have left towards filling each other's bucket list, if you know what I mean. What is the difference between them and the Nazis? I don't know. Trump, feel like shit, just want Biden. Trump, feel like shit, just want Biden back. Like Biden, like, what was the name? The show with the actor, with the thing, doesn't matter. I wanted to do a sketch. I'm not going to do it. Anyways, let's catch up with the news. It's time for the Democracy Now! Oh, wait. No, it's time for Depression Now. DepressionNow.com with Amy Badman and the War and War Report. What is happening in the world? How much is climate disaster ruining our lives? How much ethnic-based violence is spreading? How much mass murder is being enacted by empire? It is time for Depression Now, DepressionNow.com with Amy Badman. Let's see it.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israel's military has issued new evacuation orders for tens of thousands of Palestinians sheltering in Khan Yunis. The latest mass displacement order came as the United Nations warned 84% of the Gaza Strip is under evacuation orders issued by the Israeli army. Earlier today, Israeli assaults across Gaza killed at least 20 Palestinians. This comes as Haaretz is reporting the Israeli army has forced Palestinian civilians to inspect potentially booby-trapped tunnels in Gaza. The use of human shields is forbidden under the Geneva Conventions. In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces killed 4 Palestinians in an airstrike on the town of Tamun earlier today. Soldiers were filmed seizing the corpses, part of an Israeli military practice of withholding the bodies of Palestinians it kills. A 5th Palestinian was killed during an early morning Israeli raid on the town of Tubas. The UN's humanitarian...
How evil can we get? Let's steal the corpses. No, more evil. Let's force the local civilian population, the one that we're apartheiding really hard. Let's make them clean out mines, okay? More evil. Let's ethnically cleanse them, but call it an evacuation order. The Americans are gonna love that. It's let Israel speak for itself. You don't really even need to. I don't even need to do commentary,
Humanitarian agency has warned Israel's attack on a UN-run school in Gaza City that killed at least 100 people Saturday was far from an isolated incident. The UN reports it's at least the 21st Israeli strike on a school since early July that have killed scores of civilians, including children. On Tuesday, Algeria called an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council to discuss Israeli attacks on civilians. Riyad Mansour is Palestine's UN ambassador.
As the genocide continues, you have a responsibility to react, to save human lives, and preserve the foundations for peace and security for all, not just for some. Israel is a rogue state with a rotten government due to the unbridled impunity it has enjoyed so far.
The United States has approved $20 billion in additional weapons sales.
With a rotten system in general, no matter what government, it's an apartheid system that will always bring forward the worst aspects of an uncivilized fucking oppressive colonial state.
Israel, despite federal laws that prohibit arms transfers to military units accused of gross human rights violations. The State Department's approval of the sales came just a day after Secretary of State Antony Blinken commemorated the 75th anniversary of the signing of the Geneva Conventions with a call to respect international humanitarian law. Michigan Congressmember Rashida Tlaib, who's Palestinian-American, wrote in reply, quote, "You supported sending more U.S.-made bombs being used to commit war crimes. The government of Israel bombed hospitals, schools, and tents full of displaced Palestinians. How can you say you are for respecting international human rights laws?" Tlaib asked.
Don't you know, Tlaib? It's not about what you do, it's about what you say. That is the true American way. Hear, hear, hurrah, hurrah. Jebi se, breš, tako je.
Peace negotiations aimed at ending Sudan's 16-month war are expected to begin in Geneva today.
Look, I have a fancy old people cup. It's very nice. Look, it's like tigers on it and shit. We're doing Orientalism in 4K here, bro. It's like a Chinese cup or something. Sent to me directly by Xi Jinping himself. He's like, I allow you to do Orientalism on your cups. It's a nice cup, though.
Despite the Sudanese army's refusal to attend the talks mediated by the United States, Sudanese army officials said they would not show up, accusing the Rapid Support Forces of violating an agreement between the warring parties brokered in Saudi Arabia last year, and also criticized the presence of the United Arab Emirates, which it accuses of backing the RSF, as one of the observers in the Geneva negotiations. This comes as the International Organization for Migration warns Sudan is at a breaking point as famine has worsened an already catastrophic displacement crisis. Massive floods across Sudan since June have also compounded the mass displacement. The IOM has called on an urgent global response to the situation.
Thank you, Ramko, for 100 bits. Privet, bljat, I'm late today. Greetings from my vacation in Dalmatia. Oh, pozdravi se, brate! Oh, he's in beautiful, beautiful Balkans. I'm eating shunka nonstop. Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. It's gotten very expensive down in Dalmatia, but I hope you enjoy the beautiful Croatian coastline. Very based, except when they increase prices incredibly, so that not even Croats themselves can go and enjoy it.
Sudan and
it's thanks to you goddamn people like you, Romka, you fucking tourists, also being the only bread and butter of Croatia, but then also increasing all their prices.
Increased access to humanitarian aid to prevent tens of thousands.
The tourists, the eternal yin and yang, both ruining local economies and making them thrive. Because, as we all know, in the market economy, it is only the super wealthy owners that get any of the fucking benefits, while all the potential minuses will be put on the backs of the workers.
Thousands of more deaths in the coming months. A second region of Russia has declared a state of emergency after Ukrainian forces pushed deeper into Russian territory in a surprise offensive. The governor of Russia's Belgorod region says Ukrainian drone and artillery attacks have destroyed homes and killed civilians, adding to attacks in Russia's Kursk region that began last week. Almost 200,000 Russians have fled their homes. Meanwhile, the government of Poland says it's been unable to execute an arrest.
It's very interesting to see how long it lasts when they pull back, but yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much, Pandas, for your
soldier.
5th gift sub. One of my favorite fucking Pokemon up in here. Thank you, Pandas. Hope you're doing good.
Warrant issued by Germany for a suspect in the 2022 sabotage.
I spent €8 on beer in Dubrovnik 2 weeks ago, but then in Montenegro spent €2 on rakia. Based on Montenegro, you can't beat Montenegro, dude. Montenegro might be one of the nicest places to vacation, period. Even though it's also gotten expensive, but it's good.
Of the Nord Stream pipelines, which were built to carry.
Speaking of €8 for a beer, for €2 less, actually for €3 less, you can get a subscription or even for free through Prime. Consider doing so instead of watching the ad that is going to play in exactly 1 minute. Oh, should I buy 6 beers or should I buy 5 beers and buy Yugo 1 beer? That is the question you need to answer today, because for only 1 beer less a day, you get 0 ads for a month.
natural gas from Russia to Europe.
Jesus, it's as if I worked in marketing. Holy shit, I'm so good at this.
Pipelines were severely damaged in a series of underwater explosions in the Baltic Sea that the United States initially blamed on Russia. A 44-year-old Ukrainian diving professional identified as Volodymyr Z is a Baltic Sea, Europe. Taj of arrest warrant issued. Meanwhile, the government of Poland says it's been unable to execute an arrest warrant issued by Germany for a suspect in the 2022 sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines, which were built to carry natural gas from Russia to Europe. The pipelines were severely damaged in a series of underwater explosions in the Baltic Sea that the United States initially blamed on Russia. A 44-year-old Ukrainian diving professional identified as Volodymyr Z is alleged to have attached explosive charges to the pipelines with two other Ukrainian nationals.
The name as well, hella fucking poetic. And it being a Ukrainian, even after everybody was like, there's no way it's a fucking Ukrainian. Ah! You know, the State Department was like, there's no way it's a fucking Ukrainian. And not only is it a Ukrainian, he's called Volodymyr Z. He's like, he's the war but a person. And he blew up a whole fucking, oh my God. Oh.
Polish authorities say the suspect fled to Ukraine in July. Bangladeshi authorities have opened...
Holy shit, a little bit of infighting with our Central Europeans and Eastern Europeans. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord. The Polacks are like, no way you blowing up my pipeline.
A murder investigation into the possible role of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in the police...
So one solo guy managed to do all this damage by himself? Of course not. This was sanctioned. Of course it was fucking sanctioned. Jesus Christ. It was, I mean, from the Ukrainian perspective, it was absolutely the right move.
Killing of a grocery store owner during mass student-led protests in July. Hasina resigned earlier this month and fled to India. The murder complaint is the first legal case filed against Hasina's deadly crackdown on the weeks-long protests in which Bangladeshi armed forces killed at least 300 protesters, including children, according to the UN.
Really fucked up. Next step, Bangladesh overtakes all of India, all of Pakistan, and half of China. The great Bangladeshi state shall return to its once proud glory. Bangladesh on 4 oceans. Let's go.
To see our coverage of Bangladesh, go to democracynow.org. Thailand's constitutional court...
Can't wait for them to replace one insane mass-murdering dictator with another one. What a unipolar world gives you. Whatever large superpowers or local powers allow small states to engage in, that's all they can fucking hope for. 90% Hitler instead of 100% Hitler. But then again, it's the same in the imperial core, so what are we even talking about?
It has removed the Prime Minister, Srettha Thavisin, from office, ruling he violated the Constitution by appointing a minister to his government who had a criminal conviction and served 6 months in jail in 2008. The move has plunged Thailand into new political turmoil and comes just days after the same court dissolved the Progressive Move Forward opposition party. Thavisin's removal after less than a year in power means that Thai parliament must now convene to form a new government. Thavisin, a real estate tycoon, is the 4th time prime minister in 16 years to be removed by the Constitutional Court. The Africa Centers for Disease Control has declared a public health emergency as a virulent strain of Mpox spreads rapidly across Central Africa. So far this year, the Africa CDC has logged over 15,000 suspected cases of the virus.
Planet Earth is going through a lot of events this period, right? Yes, many events, many events. Brought to you by Depression Now, DepressionNow.com.
Viral disease, formerly known as monkeypox, which can cause fever, rashes, and extremely painful lesions.
It doesn't just turn me into a monkey. I want to return to monkey. Ooga booga.
Most often spread through close, intimate physical contact. Scientists say the new strain of Mpox is more lethal, with a fatality rate of around 5% in adults and double that in children. Jean Kaseya is Director General of the Africa CDC.
This is not just an African issue. Mpox is a global threat, a menace that knows no boundaries, no race, no creed. It is a virus that exploits our vulnerabilities, preying on our weakest point.
In May...
Does this guy have literally my glasses? Literally same glasses. Sorry, I know you don't come here for this riveting commentary, but am I the same guy? Are we the same guy? Unmask Yugopnik. There you go. You finally get to see full face reveal of Yugopnik. This is actually me. Okay? This is what I do when I don't stream or do the podcast.
Preying on our weakest point.
In May, the Africa CDC said it was struggling to secure any of the millions of doses of Mpox vaccine it requested from pharmaceutical companies. The World Health Organization's meeting today to consider whether to declare a global public health emergency from Mpox.
Oh, shit.
Here in the United States, at least 27 states.
That's all we need. Another fucking pandemic. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. That would be icing on the goddamn cake. Can't wait for another one.
States are reporting very high levels of coronavirus and waste.
Hide your grandparents, okay?
Water samples with a fourfold increase since June 1st.
And in the future pitch, we need to say that masks are very not woke. That actually wearing a mask is super non-woke, and it like kills the wokes. It literally removes purple color from your hair if you wear a mask. Okay, that's the only way the fucking olds are gonna wear masks again.
First, driving a summer.
I won't have a problem with that. I'm a masked man 24/7, baby.
Surge of COVID-19. The United Auto Workers Union has filed federal labor charges against former President Trump and billionaire Tesla CEO Elon Musk after the pair advocated for the illegal firing of striking workers. On Monday, Musk was heard laughing in agreement as Trump made these remarks during an audio live stream on Musk's social media site X, formerly known as Twitter.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay, you're all gone.
The UAW reiterated in a statement that under...
Vile, bro! Bro is in his vile arc. Not even villain arc. Always has been in his villain arc. In his vile arc, blood. Oh, Lord. This is what they actually talk about when they're fucking alone. You do know that, right? And they ended up being alone even on the Twitch stream because they couldn't fucking stream an audio file. Motherfucker overtook a company and he can't even do a shit that fucking Skype can do. You know when Skype was created? Back in the time of Louis the fucking 13th. Thank you, Uncle, for 100 bits. Holy shit, how the fuck is this public? I don't know.
Federal law workers...
Because they fucking, because they're stupid as shit, man.
...cannot be fired for going on strike, and threatening to do so is illegal under the National Labor Relations Act. Meanwhile, the campaign reform group End Citizens United has filed a separate complaint with the Federal Election Commission, arguing Musk's softball interview with Trump amounted to an unlawful corporate contribution to Trump's presidential campaign. We'll have more on Elon Musk's embrace of Donald Trump after headlines. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has made his first solo campaign appearance since he was tapped.
Well, like Trump just misses Biden, okay? He misses his boyfriend. He was just dumped. He was dumped for Kamala, and he needs to find somebody else. And Elon Musk is very happy to DDoS attack his fucking dick, okay? And ride it as hard as he can into a pro-oil future as he's the fucking electric car guy. Like, it doesn't even... I mean, it makes sense because he's a fucking billionaire, and obviously the Republicans protect the interests of the ultra wealthy a bit more than the Democrats, etc., etc. But when he's running on such an anti-environmentalism platform and your whole pitch for your products is they suck, actually Teslas are fucking horrible vehicles, but they pollute less, quote unquote, that's your whole pitch. And then you want the guy that's like, oh, what pollution, shut the fuck up to win. It's kind of a meme. Though it also, if you want to take yourself too seriously, it shows that Elon never really cared about environmentalism. He just perceived it as a potential market, an empty market that he can go in and make a lot of cash out of. Yeah.
Apt as the Democratic Party's vice presidential nominee. On Tuesday, Walz spoke to public sector union members at AFSCME's annual conference in Los Angeles, drawing a stark contrast between a future Harris administration and one led by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
The only thing those two guys knows about working people is how to work to take advantage of them. That's what they know about it. Every single chance they've gotten, they've waged war on workers and their ability to collectively bargain to take that away from them. All we're asking for is better wages, better benefits, better lives, and dignity in the work that we do.
Minnesota.
Bassett. Based and red-pilled. Based and red-pilled. Very well said.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has fended off a primary election challenge after pro-Israel groups raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to bankroll her opponent's campaign. On Tuesday, Omar defeated former Minneapolis City Council member Don Samuels, capturing more than 56% of the vote in the Democratic primary. Omar's been a fierce critic of Israel's war on Gaza and for months has led calls for a ceasefire. Ahead of the primary, Congressmember Omar said in a statement, quote,
Thank you very much to one of the OGs here in chat, MXG, for the 7-month sub. Thank you, my beautiful child soldier, the great Israeli Gunner State. Gains one more soldier for the great jihad. We shall instill on the people of Britain and make them goon forever.
Is shameful that my opponent is actively courting Republican votes and desperately seeking funding from AIPAC, unquote. Omar's primary victory came after the powerful American Israel Public Affairs Committee and its super PAC poured more than $25 million into defeating 2 black progressive Democrats of the squad, Congressmembers Cori Bush of Missouri and Jamal Bowman of New York. Voters in Arizona
wasted money, even though it's not really a lot of money in the context of a whole country, but still.
And Missouri will decide in November the fate of 2 ballot measures that would enshrine abortion access in their state.
Isn't it crazy that the American politicians and politicians in general and, neoliberal so-called democracies are basically Twitch streamers? Why? Because they can't actually run their platform without subscriptions or subscription donations, okay? And you call us unserious. My brother in Christ, you're literally a Twitch streamer, but but compared to politicians, we beg chat for subs, okay, so we can put the bread on the table. They beg apartheid, colonial, mass murdering, genocidal regimes. Okay, who is better? the only people not worse than Twitch streamers, which are the second worst people on the planet, well, neoliberal politicians, my dear friends.
Constitutions. Missouri's amendment would reverse the state's near-total ban on abortions, which went into effect after the Supreme Court's ruling that gutted Roe v. Wade in 2022. Meanwhile, the Arizona measure would amend the state constitution to protect abortion rights up to 24 weeks of pregnancy. At least 5 other states, including Florida, Nevada, and South Dakota.
There you go. I don't need Israel when I got fucking MXG in shot. Thank you so much for 5 gift subs, my love. That's 111th, okay? You are my Israel, okay? You are my AIPAC, okay? You are my AIPAC. MXG, also known as the good AIPAC, okay? Also known as the good AIPAC. Thank you very much for the 5 gift subs, for helping me get close to my goal. Thank you very much. Ain't nobody watching ads in this motherfucker.
We'll vote on similar measures this November. A warning to our audience, our next story contains disturbing footage and accounts of police violence. In Ohio, a grand...
Baby, you my AIPAC, baby. Yeah, baby, be my AIPAC, baby. Yeah. Imagine there's probably some of the, those Findom, pay pigs and shit. Like, oh, yeah, be my AIPAC. Oh, yeah, make me do bad things for money. Yeah. And she's like, she's talking with him over the phone, and she's like, go and, call a brown person a slur and then send me incredible amounts of money. Oh, yeah, be my AIPAC.
And juries indicted a Franklin County police officer on murder and manslaughter charges after he fatally shot a pregnant black mother in a Kroger parking lot over a shoplifting accusation. Body camera video
You're so baby girl. Oh, thank you, baby girl.
Of the killing last August shows Officer Connor Grubb pulled his gun and fired a single shot through the windshield of a car being driven by 21-year-old Takaya Young, who...
Remember, look at what happens, and that happens every day in America, and yet every fucking cucked American will be like, oh, but what about this picture? What about this picture? Every day in America, car wants to pass, cop takes out gun, shoots in forehead. But what about the tank with the man in front of the tank? What about this? Literally every day in America, if a fucking car refuses to stop for a cop, crack, 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 you're fucking dead. But what about the Jesus Christ.
Posed no threat to the officers. Sean Walton is an attorney for Takaya Young's family.
The actions that led to the death of Takaya, the unnecessary aggression.
After this, can we please take a quick break to look at this Black MAGA website that says Native Americans led the Confederacy during the Civil War? Holy shit. Okay, I'll try the link. Oh my God, this is the worst website I've seen in my life. What the fuck are you sending me, hack? This looks like it's going to download a virus. Okay, this is the website. Number one, this is just the limitless truth. Number one, Kamala's parents were the biggest slave owners in Jamaica. Joe Biden says the N-word 13 times. I know about Joe Biden. I'm not sure about Kamala. But Judge Valerie Manasher says she did not dismiss the case, blah, blah, blah. Next Trump, text Trump. This is like, come on, put in some extra work. Original rebel flag, KKK. This is the original rebel flag. Incredible. I love how the Native Americans really wanted to defend whites to slave own, because they were like, at least somebody after we've been genocided has it really bad. We don't want them to not have it really bad, and because then we're going to be the number one top victims. This is incredible. What, can I click it? No, this is just the original rebel flag. This is just the original rebel flag, okay? I feel like this website is racist by itself because it implies that black people can't design a website. You know? Or if it was a white guy that made it, he's like, should we do website design? They were like, no, it's for the blacks. They don't know what a website is. They just got internet yesterday, okay? Just put text on white wall, okay? The point about number 12. What about this number? A black man falsely accused for belief in God. What? Šta koji kurac? Judge Spencer has conflict of interest with U.S. Bank in the amount of $108,000 on page 6 line of form. Incredible. I am ally. Trump protesters are East Indians and fake black people. Whoa, this is legendary. Trump protesters are East Indians and fake black people. Remember, if you're black and you're protesting Trump, you're a fake black. Remember that moment when I was a fake black? Ishmaelites, Arabs, and East Indians always had black American slaves. More infighting amongst people of color. Let's go, yeah. Blacks for Trump is Cyrus. Trump's immortal equals royal guards. Rhino Republicans are the racists who are destroying Trump's immortals. Mitch McConnell, Romney, and Bush using JP Sekou. What? Oh, I can just click it and it just opens the picture. This is the worst website I've ever seen in my life. See AmericanGala.com and see over 100 black stars and others say that they are performing. And see President Trump. This is made by somebody who's going through a schizophrenic breakdown, okay? President Trump says he's going to receive a doctorate degree from several Haitian colleagues, Haitian, at the American Gala Awards, an event to raise money for the veterans. What is going on? Hank, why do you do this to me? American Gala Awards raising money. Look at the incredible design. The design is very human, okay? The design is very human. Everything is a link, but nothing looks like a link. Yeah, if you click on anything, it just opens an even more insane website. Click box for menu. AGA 2020 event. AGA? What's AGA? AGA Karim? Sounds like a Azerbaijani name. AGA Award Boss New Year's Yacht Parties.
Brother, there's far too many others dying. You know.
What? Joe Biden says racial slurs about black people. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the guy was fucking hella racist and probably still is. Red arrow to see all judges' conflicts of interest. This is that fucking scene from The guys from Philadelphia, what was that show? With him losing his mind, but just a website version. Speaking of losing your mind, in exactly 1 minute, you will want to lose your mind because you will be supplied with endless corporate propaganda, also known as advertising. Well, instead of that, stick with us here as we go through less mind-losing website design, also known as limitlesstruth.com, and also supporting the show for $6 a month of a free through Prime by clicking that sub button or by donating, gifting subs to those less privileged than you. Thank you, MXG, again for the 5 gift subs, my brother. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And avoid those ads that are going to play in the next 20 seconds. Thank you very much, MXG. Everybody who got a gift sub from our good old MSG, please say thank you. But yeah, Hank, what the fuck did you send me? Seriously. Now Michael gives the World Forum Yahweh Ben Yahweh the cure to Corona and remove Fauci. This is like an insight into the brain of a Republican, I feel like, okay? I think this is like a performative art that we're just missing out on. The truth is hard to read. Oh. Proof that the Indians are the ones who want to impeach Trump to take America from blacks and whites. I never heard the pitch that like the Indians are the original bad guys. It's the Indians that are actually fucked up. Let's see the video. Indians are the ones who want to impeach Trump. Proof that Indians are the ones who want to impeach Trump to take America from blacks and whites. Takes me to YouTube. Okay. Holy shit, it's 30 minutes.
That Trump should be impeached. And when she says it, then Pelosi agrees to do it.
Wonderful.
Why?
A new child
Because the
soldier,
East Indians,
subscriber.
Arabs, and Pakistanis, who are the sons of Ishmael, they rule America right now. Are you white people who are my blood brothers, are you going to allow these bastards to impeach our president and take America from us? I say hell no. And here's the proof that the East Indians, who are the Ishmaelites, are ruling America. Remember, it's not all East Indians, but these ones who sit in the high places as if they are God. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, 1 through 11. Watch this video and let me show you how the East Indian Ishmaelites have taken America and are trying to impeach our president.
The goddamn East Indians coming over here, taking all the goddamn black jobs and impeaching our white brothers and sisters. The East Indians over here with their curry want to make us less brown but not white, right in the middle somehow, remove our beautiful voluptuous lips. Okay, they are breeding out the black man by making him look 2 shades less black and without voluptuous lips or curly hair. Indeed, brothers and sisters, we must protect our president. What the fuck? Thank you very much, ZVH, for the gifted sub, my beautiful child soldier. Fucking OG here in chat. And thank you, Banji Limian, for the resub. Hello, you sexy Balkan. Hello, you sexy chatter. Right back at you. Thank you for the 7-month fucking streak, you fucking legend. Oh. Does this keep playing?
They have deceived the world into making us think they're black when they're really East Indians, Arabs, and Pakistanis. Especially that creep called Obama, who actually freed all of the East Indian, Arabs, and Pakistanis because they are his people. He let them go out of Gitmo. Those were the people that supplied.
Obama! Obama is Indian! Obama is Indian! Oh, and people say racism isn't funny. Oh, it's the funniest.
Ike, Larry Hoover, Big Meech, Tim Brown, Rick Brownlee, all of them still have not been pardoned. He let all of those other nuts.
My fellow Indian lions, they are uncovering our actual motives in this great war against the white American, but most importantly, our greatest adversary, the black American. Okay. We have integrated all high echelons of American society with Indians. We will make them eat tasty food and do silly dances in all their Hollywood movies. All their Hollywood movies shall become Bollywood movies. That has been our goal all along, my Indian brothers and sisters. They must sing in every movie they make. We shall recreate Matrix. We shall recreate Godfather 1 and 2. And we shall recreate the greatest movie America ever made, but it can only be improved with some dancing. And that is Shawshank Redemption. In that last scene where he hugs the evil black, he will also be doing dancey dances. Oh, I love this. I live for this. But enough of transgression on your ears. I'm not playing this anymore. Hank, thank you for your service. Pithan found the website from a Black MAGA music video. That's where I got it. Thank you, Hank. God, that was incredible. I borderline feel bad for making fun of it because nobody on that website or any of the videos linked sounds like they're, they all sound like they're going through a tough time. Let me just use that terminology because that makes, your unhinged uncle on Thanksgiving look like the smartest fucking tool in the shed, right? It's incredible. But yes, send me that Indian money. I am protecting our great cause. That is why I wear a mask, because I'm actually Indian underneath it. You would have guessed.
The chilling commands that amount.
Hakeem is also Indian, and JT is our proud whitest Indian man. Okay, we needed to breathe out the melanin out of him for many a year, but he's still Indian deep down inside.
Wanted to comply or die. We're there for us all to witness in dreadful clarity. Takaya's life and that of her daughter were extinguished in an act of brutality, becoming yet another symbol.
Obama's real name is Bajit.
Of the urgent need for reform in police conduct and accountability.
Authorities have opened an investigation into an online harassment lawsuit brought by the Algerian Olympic boxing gold medalist Iman Khalif. She was targeted by a torrent of misogynist, racist, and sexist attacks over her gender eligibility to participate in the 2024 Paris Olympics. False claims and hate speech that Khalif was transgender or a man were posted online, including by tech billionaire Elon Musk and author J.K. Rowling, who are both named in Khalif's lawsuit. Though not
did you hear that certain people started finding like in different pictures of, wait, let me Google that, like J.K. Rowling, our transphobic goddess, black, what was it called? Black mold. J.K. Rowling's wallpaper turned into a meme about her polarizing views around gender. Google search interest in J.K. Rowling mold, which I just Googled, has skyrocketed since Saturday when the author changed her picture on X. What does the Olympics controversy, blah, 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 on the surface? Nothing. But on the battlefield of social media and its ongoing conflict over the rights and societal attitude towards trans people, the two have suddenly become intertwined. The wallpaper in question, found in the background of a profile picture, right? Basically, the meme is that she kept changing her photos, and as the photos would change in her living room, people started noticing that there's black mold in the background, and the black mold is slowly expanding. And then they traced back when was the first time that anybody could spot that she had black mold in the living room. And it was right around the time when she began her insane transphobia online and even through so-called, transphobic activism, etc., etc. And why is that so funny? Because being exposed to black mold for a larger amount of time literally makes you dumber. Like it lowers your mental capacity to rationally analyze certain societal things, etc., etc. So basically the meme is, holy shit, she's just been snorting a lot of black mold for the last 10 years, which made her into an idiot, which you need to be in order to be transphobic, right? So she literally dumped herself down into being a transphobe, which is the greatest lore. That's better than any book this fucking asshole has ever written, okay? So far in the transphobic pipeline, she's turning into a gamer. Yeah, the mold is moldy and transphobic like. The wallpaper question. Wait, where's the photo? There we go. Okay, so sorry, but is that black mold growing up the walls of her house? Is that why she's the way she is? You see, the black mold is slowly increasing, but it's crazy. It's crazy. What is that? Okay, now people are just fucking around. But yeah, the wallpaper question found in the background of a profile picture that a British author used on X until recently became a focal point for her critics last week after she stoked hate towards Khalifa, calling her a male, etc., etc. Since July 30th, more than a dozen posts, 50 million combined views, speculating that Rowling's profile pic showed black mold on the walls of the multimillionaire's house. There is no real evidence for such claims. But no, that would be the only rationalizing, that would be the only rational way to explain away her incredibly irrational perspective towards trans women in particular. So it's very, it's funny. It all makes sense. The black mold gave her turf brain, because you literally, in order to be a turf, you literally have to have a cooked brain. Like, you need to be an imbecile, right? And that's the only way it could explain it. But then again, we had, she fucking wrote Harry Potter. She's not the brightest fucking fish in the book.
Named in the complaint. Khalif's lawyer said
she was denying that the Nazis burned books on trans people and that they went after trans people pretty early on. It's been a while. I'm sure you can find more details. Yeah. The black mold. Imagine if she now utilizes that because she sees just how much people are giving her shit correctly and rightfully giving her shit about being a transphobe, and pulling back by saying, no, it was the mold. The whole time it was the mold making me into a fucking idiotic transphobe. I'm so here for that fucking character arc. She's clearly never played D&D, because even the earliest editions of D&D had mold as an enemy, signaling to players who might not otherwise know that mold equals bad. It's just the cleanest turf house, okay? It's not just trans exclusionary radical feminism. It's the cleaning exclusionary radical feminism. Black mold for JK, paint thinner for Mr. Beast, nitrous for Kanye. Everybody is huffing and puffing, baby.
Donald Trump could also potentially be investigated over his social media remarks about the athlete. Most of the attacks came from X, formerly Twitter, which is owned by Elon Musk. And those are some of the headlines.
Thank you very much. Depression Now, depressionnow.com with Amy Badman. Everybody who does not follow or subscribe to Depression Now, depressionnow.com with Amy Badman and the War and War Report, please do go and check out their channel and give them a beautiful smooch on the head, also known as a subscription. Now let us move on to Trump and Elon have the most uninteresting conversation of all time. I have to admit to you that, I do this professionally, so I should have watched the thing. I have not watched the thing or listened to the thing, and I will never watch the thing or listen to the thing, because I have more respect towards my bodily autonomy and my mind than I have aspirations for being the ultimate fucking political commentator on the internet, okay? There are certain things you can demand from me. Listening to over an hour of Trump talking to Elon Musk is not one of them. I am still fucking recovering from having watched Aiden Ross interview Donald Trump, okay? I had to see that scene where both of them dance in front of a fucking Cybertruck painted in the American flag. I have collectively lost at least 20% of my IQ points that particular day. It's not a big deal for me because I have a 3,000 IQ. I have the biggest IQ. Everybody says that I have the biggest IQ. So even if I lost 20%, it is more than any other IQ because I have the biggest IQ, yes. So I will not watch this, but thankfully our dear friends from the Majority Report with Sam Cedar have watched this, so let's check out what they say. Would you watch Kai x Kamala? No, I would rather fucking eat my own foot after having stepped on an uncleaned public toilet. Yeah? but most definitely I would, because I do this for a living. But yeah, I have failed, comrades. Who needs black mold when you got Aiden Ross? Exactly. Aiden Ross is the black mold of Zoomers. Okay, you no longer need black mold in your houses. You just have horrible Twitch streamers. That is why we are here to kind of balance it out. We are the cleaning department of online communities, right? And we shall cleanse and we shall clean for many a day to come. Okay, so yeah, Trump and Elon have most uninteresting conversation of all time. Let's see it. Please, beautiful mods, adjust the title, whatever way you see him fit, but include Trump and Elon in the name. Thank you kindly. Let's get started.
On the crap on Elon Musk early, and Michael particularly so, was heavily invested in calling out what a charlatan.
And I have to take a fucking little Ace Super White X, okay, who's not sponsoring this, in order to get through this. Okay.
Elon Musk was.
Bro, we would eat up a D&D stream. I'm going to play D&D on Friday, but like all those people are like anonymous and shit. I don't think they would. But I could play with like other quote unquote online personalities. That would be pretty cool. I would love to introduce you to my orc barbarian with proclivities towards fucking snakes and getting beat up by babushkas because he steals cabbage vodka. Yes, those are all real events that happened in our current D&D campaign. Yugo gaming streams. I did a gaming stream recently. I played for like 8 hours straight. I even finished the game. It was one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. Mods or whoever was in chat back then, Romka, please remind us what the fuck that game. Nobody wants to die or some shit. Please don't play that game. Just the ending made the whole experience absolutely fucking horrendous. It was such a bad fucking experience. The ending was some libbed up Polish shit that made me want to jump out of a fucking window. It made every single event in the entirety of the game make absolutely no sense. It's like Lost, the TV series, but like the ending is 5 times worse, okay? Thank you for 100 bits. Yugo actually plays Albanian fighter named Skanderbeg. Hey, Skanderbeg's mom was Serbian. Be careful what you say about our national heroes, blood. Play Disco Elysium someday. I've already played it twice, but any similar game I would really, really like to play. I love playing story-focused games, especially with you guys, because then we can do some commentary and we can properly, make decisions together, etc., etc. But yeah, let's get back into Fallout London. I don't have a fucking PC, man. I would love to play Fallout London. Anything on console because I got a MacBook. I'm MacBook cucked. I'm Mac cucked, okay?
And
yeah, it was a Polish game. That should have been enough of a fucking red flag for me, but no, let's not be Polishophobic, I told myself. Netanyahu's Polish? Man, the Polish just, I don't think I have a single Pole in chat, even though I have a whole ass emote where I'm just wearing a Polish hat, if anybody has it. But I said, Polska Polakom, Polska Polaku. Speaking of something that is almost as insufferable as the Polish mind, ads will be playing in exactly 2 minutes and 45 seconds. The more ads you watch, as we all know, the more Polish you become. And the highest level Pole is literally Netanyahu. So the more ads you watch, the higher the chance of you becoming Netanyahu. Well, I have one specific solution in mind for you. It's called the anti-Polish pill, also known as vaccines for those woke among you. And in certain cultures, it is referred to as a subscription to YugopnikTwitch for $6 a month of a free through Prime. So subscribe and save yourself from eventually becoming a Polak by consuming too much advertising, or gift a sub to somebody else so that they can take the vaccine and protect themselves from eventually degenerating into yet another Netanyahu. Now, back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting. The ad plays in 1 minute and 50 seconds.
This actually worked out pretty well for Elon Musk. There was only 45 minutes. Let me put it this way. Last night, I live streamed it. Mm-hmm. The idea that it took me less time to figure out how to work OBS on my computer and to actually like set it up and
fellow streamer, Sam Steeder.
actually do it than it did Elon Musk.
It is very complicated, by the way. I must say, it is very, very complicated.
Set up his.
That was a 9 out of 10 ad pitch, I believe, telling you that you're going to become polls unless you subscribe. I think a pretty nice 9 out of 10. Borderline racist, but that's what you're here for.
It's not even video. It's just like a voice.
Literally just audio medium.
It's radio. Like, why not just broadcast it on the radio? But they had.
I did college radio, and it was more sophisticated than their output last night.
This is a conference call, basically.
But that's the thing is that this technology is like. This is stuff that has existed
Skype,
for
man. Skype could do
decades.
it in the 12th century.
2004, granted, it was real audio, but it existed. And all he's got to do is he's putting it on a website. Now, maybe they don't have the servers there to support it. I don't know.
Maybe they're not paying for it.
He claimed.
Thank you very much to one of the most base names in chat, Abortion Now. Yugopnik Forever. Thank you very much for the sub, Beautiful Child Soldier. Ain't nobody watching ads up in this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He claimed that there was a DDoS attack. And honestly, like,
to say.
I am going to say that whenever I F up any type of technology going forward, because I'll tell you something.
It's a double D.
There was no DDoS.
The double Ds are attacking me.
Let's be honest.
Oh, no,
everybody
not
who's
the
a grown-up
double
knows
Ds.
that he just, whatever reason, they couldn't get it together.
If you forget to respond to one of your friends' texts, you say, "Oh, there's someone my phone. There's something going on with my phone. The service was being denied."
But I
mean, it fell because because the server couldn't handle Trump's double Ds in live full HD. Okay, the stream was fucked up because it couldn't carry the size of two double Ds, both by Elon and by Trump.
Wonderful. A new child soldier.
Lord.
Subscriber.
The only thing good about the two is their double Ds, of course. I'm not body shaming in any way at all. Thank you, ZVIH, very much for the gift sub. Thank you for saving another person from eventually becoming a poll. Thank you kindly.
I thought it would be sort of like, I said this on the stream last night. I'd once read a review of someone who I knew. Had
Kurva Bobber, advertising, kurva advertising, reclama, kurva.
Done a play, and it was he was not a playwright, and the review though was magnificent, and it came up with this quote: "There are some things that are so bad, they're good. This was worse," and. That's the only way that I could explain this to you. We obviously I tuned in because I thought it would be fun, and it was just boring. And
what was with Trump's list?
The same thing. Me and the boys expect on Friday a new release of the deprogram. We actually went through some of the leaked Project 2025 shit, and we're like, man, this episode is gonna pop, and it's gonna pop. It's gonna be 2 hours and a half long. But it was just extremely boring. I hope not the episode itself, but the shit we watched, the leaked videos on Project 2025 and how they're instructing future people working in the administration of different independent government agencies and how they can manipulate those government agencies and the different sectors inside of them to further support a more radical conservative movement, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, holy shit, we're going to watch some insane conspiracies, some, fascist dog whistling is going to be epic. And you had all of that, but it was just not epic. It was a bunch of fucking talking heads doing a corporate fucking introduction video. It was fucking pathetic.
Only sort of interesting thing was everybody was trying to figure out why is he lisping, and at first I thought oh, this has got to be something I'm doing wrong, I'm sending out a double signal on my stream, and nope, it was the lisp. And then someone had put a picture of dentures, which I used as the background for the entire broadcast after I saw that on Twitter. But if I were to say sort of the three things that we learned, it's one, Elon Musk is incapable of carrying a conversation, and it's particularly hard with two sort of all-out narcissists who don't listen to each other. Two, Donald Trump still wants to run against Joe Biden and is attempting to will it into existence by bringing him up at every turn.
It's incredible.
Almost ignoring Kamala Harris as the candidate.
Keep it up.
And 3, it turns out, and I learned this from Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they both added to this. All-out thermonuclear war would be bad for the planet.
Trump does best when he's being interviewed by someone who can butt heads with, he can be adversarial with. His glaze sessions are always super boring. He's at his peak when he can be a catty little bish. Yes, I couldn't agree more. The watching him with the fucking Twitch streamer was one of the worst things I've ever seen. So I'm guessing with Elon Musk, who's another narcissistic billionaire fucking freak, who, wants to be the one talking, is probably just, a glazing session. But not even a nice, fun, horny glazing session. It's just like two dudes that can't get it up, sitting there complaining to each other about, I can't get it up right now because it's not you, it's not me either. I don't know, it's too cold. To lower the AC. Oh, trust me. I always get it up, but not today. I got the biggest ups, the biggest crowds.
Cosign.
Here is convicted felon Donald Trump describing to Elon Musk about, this, in some ways, this whole election is fraudulent because he should be running against Joe Biden. And that's what he signed up for. Hilarious. This is clip number 2.
Rough people. And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate.
Pause it for 1 second. Even now, it's like even clearer. I can hear it even more. Third-rate succotash. Yeah, that's what it was. So somebody sent me, because I was trying to think what cartoon character it is, and it's suffering succotash. It was this cat. No, it was a cat.
Sylvester the cat.
Sylvester the cat. All right, go back. Listen. I know people who have lisps. Some of my best friends have had lisps. But where's all of a sudden you developed this lisp?
Some of your best friends have had lisps. So you're starting to talk like Trump after listening to him last night.
I know so many of the lispers.
I love people with lisps. Some of my best friends are lisps, but we gotta kill all the people with lisps. we gotta deport them. The lisps, they're coming to suburban areas, and they're talking in lisp. And what is your child one day gonna say when he sees two men talking in lisp to each other? Dad, is this okay? And then all of a sudden, your child talks in lisps. That is what the Democrats want. They want everybody to talk in lisps. Your 12-year-old child comes to you, never had a lisp before. Now, because of the woke lisp agenda, is like, Dad, I want to talk in lisp. I want to cut my tongue off by half, okay? Cut my lips, plump my lips up, okay? I want to talk in lisp. This is the woke lisp agenda.
Binders full of...
But I don't mind lisp people. My best friend has a lisp.
People with lisps.
Go ahead.
While this third-rate phony candidate...
You could run for office in America. Oh, glizz me up even more. Actually, that's the most offensive thing anybody has ever told me, pandas. But thank you.
Don't forget, I beat Biden.
By any means necessary, you're going to talk about Google getting charged with being a monopoly. Maybe later, yep.
He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he didn't.
Dude, why the fuck is he doing the fucking lisp? I'm sorry to anybody who does have a lisp, but I'm sorry, but it's funny. Just listen again.
Debate miserably, and some people said, "Oh, gee, it's too bad."
Why does he turn into the duck? What was the name of the duck? The rich duck. The rich duck. Sorry for the buckets. I didn't have a normal childhood like you. The rich duck from the show. Yeah, the rich duck. The richest duck in the world. What's his actual name? What's his name? Scrooge McDuck. Oh, yeah, Scrooge McDuck. Scrooge McDuck. Some lib must have made Scrooge McDuck Trump. Oh, we have for this. I am Donald Trump. I would make the country great again. All men with lisps shall be protected under the current administrative powers, okay? I have the best lisp. Nobody has a lisp as good as mine, okay? I have the best lisp in the world. And if you don't like my lisp, you are just a woke communist.
Too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the bed. You know, the first night they said, wow.
Slavoj Trump. Donald Zizek. Donald Zizek, we Slavoj Trump here. But you guys are good. You cunts are good, man. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was good. That was good. That was very good. That was very fucking good. That was very fucking good. Ideology is everything, and I have the best ideology. My ideology is not really ideology. I just say that whatever the other guys are doing is bad. My ideology is wall, and my ideology is the biggest fucking crowds in the world. I love trans people, but I also think it's an ideology, okay? I also support Israel. Wait, is it Donald Trump or is it actual Zizek? You will never guess. Oh God. But my wife, who is from Slovenia, Slovenia is the best country. We want to be more like Slovenia. I single-handedly destroyed Yugoslavia. I will now, as the leader in Balkanization, proceed to destroy America and Balkanize it further.
One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different... Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave.
Guy's so angry. He cannot make sweet, sweet love to that big fucking chungus that Biden is hiding underneath, man. He is so pissed. And even if he wins, he will not be able to win, like to dominate Biden, which is his biggest fucking fetish.
And they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. So I had a good relationship.
Which is why I'm wishing and like crying to myself to sleep that I'm running, that I could be running against him. It's incredible.
It's amazing how he can't get past this. And I just found it there was one moment where at the beginning, Musk was trying to they were talking about the assassination attempt. And I was really struck, I've watched the video. I was really struck how little insight Trump could offer as the target. Like he literally just there wasn't a single thing that he expressed in terms of an emotion or something that happened from his perspective. It was very bizarre. But Elon Musk was trying to say
that's what happens when you're depressed. That's what happens when you're depressed. Even you can't be interesting. You just lack the capacity because you're depressed. And Trump is depressed. Why, chat? Because his boyfriend is no longer running, okay?
He's trying to get very conspiratorial with how was it that he could take that shot from 160 yards away, and that shot is very difficult. Very hard to believe that someone would have taken that shot. And then Trump, because these guys are not listening to each other at all. Trump goes, I said to my sons, I said, about that shot, and they both are hunters, they're big game hunters, and they said, that's an easy shot. And then, and Elon Musk is like, yeah.
They just kept talking
realized
past
that they
each other.
completely contradicted each other. But again, I just want to say I apologize to those people who tuned in to listen because they thought that it was going to be better because I thought it was going to get better. So in the future,
all of you need to do better because you shouldn't expect that.
Yes, don't expect more than that.
Caveat. loquitur or caveat. It's not emptor at that point because nobody paid for it, but it was like a
voluntor.
Caveat listentor. I don't know.
I mean, we can take something
Audio
positive. I don't know what you're even talking
There you
about.
go.
Did you take Latin?
Thank you very much, Majority Report, because they're confirming my biases. And the smartest thing I had done that day when that was actually fucking streaming is not watch that shit. Okay, good to hear that I haven't missed even good content. It wasn't even a decent fucking content farm. It was just two dudes not even managing to glaze each other properly.
I did actually,
All right.
oddly,
That's why
and
she doesn't know what you're
completely
talking about.
worthless. It was just so I could take basically a second history class and.
I don't think either one paid attention half the time. Trump is in a depression because of his boyfriend dropping out, and Elon is depressed because everyone in his family hates him. Imagine making a 20-member fucking family, like having 20 children, and then none of them liking you, like not even one. Oh.
Not take a language. But long story short, what I do like is what this portends for Trump, because we know that DeSantis launched his campaign on the audio-only video or no video conference call platform X, and that went down in flames. And now Donald Trump, here we go, right? Yes, thank you for pulling this. I forgot. Trump truth socialed at that time, I guess a little over a year ago. Wow, the DeSantis Twitter launch is a disaster. His whole campaign will be a disaster. Watch. And you know what? If this goes the way that it did for the DeSantis campaign, they're back to obsessing over people's genitals. J.D. Vance has brought the DeSantis energy to the Trump campaign, and now he's launching...
I love how Aiden Ross outperformed Elon fucking Musk on hosting Donald Trump. The fucking pedophilia platform, okay? The gambling and pedophilia platform outdid X when it comes to hosting the future potential president-elect. Incredible. Aiden Ross, the biggest fail son in the world, now officially deplatformed by a bigger fail son, Elon Musk himself.
Or doing campaign events on Twitter Spaces.
This was him doing the interview.
Yep.
This is Trump on the space.
We have video, right? There's video.
Is that a
out
battery
there
on this
of
phone?
there's
Security.
There's a video out there. It would be interesting to see if he had to keep, a gun on this.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
I think the Trump stuff is
a gun.
Holy shit, he needed to put up the phone. They didn't give him headphones. Well, he couldn't wear headphones because his ear is fucked up. Well, why did they even have to take a photo if it was fully audio? Give him a setup. Why does one of the most powerful people in the world not have a better setup than a fucking iPhone? Oh, man. No, that's the point. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's completely fucking winging it. And all of capitalist society is just hanging by a fucking thread. Just a bunch of fucking idiots winging it, and us, the other idiots, thinking that they know what they're doing. No, fucking 19-year-old Jimmy probably has more capacity from Wisconsin to govern a fucking country than these decrepit corpses, okay? It's
on this.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
I think the Trump stuff is probably the most important. I can't help but notice that the richest...
At least Aiden Ross had a fucking setup, He had multiple cameras. They were switching. They knew how to use OBS. This was just a fucking conference call. It didn't work on the plan. It's incredible. This writes itself. I'm sorry.
Man in the world wishes that he was Lex Friedman very desperately.
Yes.
He's terrible at it. He's the worst interviewer. He cannot string a
He was not
together.
trying to interview. He was trying to have a conversation, and it was one of the most awkward experiences. To be involved with it, honestly.
Yeah, actually, so and trying to get a word in.
Shatters are talking about the shoulder pads. This was a very decent thread on shoulder pads by Derek, a guy. I fuck with this guy so much. It's unlikely that Trump is wearing the same suits. Wait, no, is this the old? No. It's unlikely that Trump is wearing the same suits from the 1980s. Two reasons. His body has changed, and the suits are visibly different in terms of silhouettes. Secondly, not all suits are made with shoulder pads, okay? Many are made with a single layer of canvas across the shoulder. In fact, that's one of the most common construction techniques today in ready-to-wear, as tailoring has become softer and more casual to accommodate a more more dressed down and warmer America. Lastly, the issue is less about the presence of shoulder pads and more about how such pads are made and shaped. Just as most jackets will be made with a shell cloth, canvas, and hair cloth, which can be cut, sewn, and shaped in many ways to create distinctive silhouettes, shoulder pads can also be made to create different forms. Trump's tailoring is unique in that he wears a very extended, this is the point, that he wears a very extended shoulder to create the impression of a V-shaped silhouette, as his body doesn't naturally have this shape, okay? Our boy just wants to look built different. And he goes to his fucking stylists and his tailors. He's like, I want to look fucking yoked, okay? But sir, you literally have the weirdest body on the planet. I can't make you look yoked. I will pay you $1 million. You have a deal. He looks yoked. Many tailored jackets will have a shoulder seam that is intended to sit off the bone in some way, but few are as extended. The more extensions you put into the shoulder line, the more structure you need. And you see that he trained a lot, but you see they go all the way to here. They go all the way to here because like you need more shoulder padding the chubbier you are below. I have a problem with that. I'm not doing fucking body shaming. I'm a thick boy. I have a fucking waist, right? That's why I work out my shoulders like crazy because I want to counterbalance it. But this guy, I have the best shoulder pads in the world. Why would I work out? Okay. And here, shoulder pads show. I don't think I own a single suit. I think I own one that actually has like shoulder pads, but it's one of my oldest ones that I haven't worn in forever because it gives a very distinctly old school look. But that's what, to an extent, he's going for as well. You see, this fine looking gentleman works perfectly, okay? Because he's not overdoing it. And even with the crumple in the back, still not overdoing it, so it looks decent. But Trump just, hence why you see this massive pad when he sits down with his shoulders hunched forward. This effect is absent in softer forms of tailoring. The fourth photo shows a jacket with less padding, but many jackets, such as those made by Ring Jacket in Japan, are even softer and will have even less of this effect. Okay? And the tie, the incredibly long tie. But he's always worn the incredibly long tie. I think that the incredibly long tie is just to hide the gut. That's the main thing you want to do. You just want to hide the gut. And usually when you wear he wears the high waist pants. But when you wear the high waist pants and you have a gut, everybody's like, dude, you're just fucking hiding the gut, but we can see the gut. What the fucking hell are you doing? That's why I want to kill my gut, because I really fuck with high waist pants. But the reason he wears the super long tie is to also hide the fact that he's hiding the gut with the high waist pants. Okay? You should make it 1 centimeter longer every rally. They came to see my dick, but they couldn't because my tie is now too long. Oh, I love you, Chad. Yeah. To answer the question, why does this matter? It doesn't matter in terms of politics, but it may matter when you are shopping for a suit or sport coat. Knowing these tailoring issues and their trade-offs can help you buy a better, more flattering garment. Derek Guy. We fuck with Derek Guy.
And also, Elon, let's not talk about coups, because I'm old enough to remember when you basically said about Bolivia that we can coup anybody that we want because you want their lithium reserves. I mean, this is the kind of guy. He's really one to talk about the replacement of a Democratic presidential nominee before the convention being a coup when he's openly advocated.
Well, he wasn't even technically the nominee, right? He was just the
not even technically,
nominee.
right? Exactly, not even right. And this is
Kubashi. Trump wants to cover the gut, but can't cover the gyat. Oh, that was good.
The conventions before.
Just got a tailored suit. It cost me $1.2K. I'm too afraid to wear it anywhere and risk staining and ruining it. When you get a nice suit, a more expensive one, by the way, congratulations on your purchase. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with wanting to look good and spending your hard-earned money whatever fucking way you want to. When you buy a nice suit, you're basically subscribing to, just like if you buy a very strong car that is going to consume a lot of fucking fuel, you will always have to take it to dry cleaners. You will always have to pay for dry cleaners. Never, please never wash your suits by yourself. Suit pants, maybe. But like the blazer should exclusively be washed by the chemical wash, dry cleaning as you Americans call it. But I have so many suits that were ruined, just like I was stupid. I would wear them to actual clubs and shit, and then drink spill, drinks with like juices inside, etc., etc. Not even the dry cleaners can get that out. I should have spent that money to avoid the top of the hour ad break. Oh, I could have used that, but sorry. Yeah.
Or, the primary process. Also, you would select candidates that way as well, so there was no legal mechanism for them to enforce that. But yeah, Elon once said, we will coup whoever we want, deal with it. So just deal with it, buddy.
That was when he had a red rose in his bio because he was saying that he was actually the real socialist.
Oh, right.
Very cool guy.
He's gone through different stages. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
His ex-girlfriend literally ruined the guy. Okay? Literally ruined the guy. Anyways, with that out of the way, as promised, let's go into a little bit of Theory Hour. Theory Hour, what do we mean by this? Well, sitting around and saying capitalism not based and socialism very, very based. And who will assist us with this? Well, the greatest of complicated names, but actually incredibly based videos. One Dime himself. And holy shit, thank you very much, Lucid Fox, the OG of OGs, for the raid. I hope you had a lovely stream. My dear friend, everybody in this chat, Lucid Fox with 2 X's right now. Go over there and give them a follow. Hello, 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 and thank you very much, Sean Shank Redemption, for the 5 gifted subs. I really fucking appreciate it. That is the 35th gift sub. Thank you very, very much. And if anybody was thinking of gifting subs, now is the moment when we have 200 beautiful comrades showing up. But again, please, everybody, give a follow to Lucid Fox or even more if you can afford it. And if anybody was going to gift now to our new friends. Thank you, Ramka, for the 100 bits. Why would you ever wear a suit to the club? It's just me that goes to clubs where people wear latex and bondage. I go to both. Funny enough, when I fucked up, 2 suits that I fucked up, it was like Halloween and shit. So I would dress up in different characters that wear a suit. One, I went like American Psycho, and I had the whole plastic thing on top of my gray suit, but the plastic thing ripped at some point, and then the blood paint I had on the plastic thing started touching the insides of my suit, and that's what fucked it up, and I couldn't get the blood off. And another time, I don't remember what I was wearing, but I also fucked it up with the thing. So it's yeah. Guys wear thongs and suits, actually, always. If you don't wear a thong under your shirt, then what are you doing? But yes, moving on, what everybody gets wrong about the capitalist matrix, what everybody gets wrong about capitalism in general. Let's learn a bit and talk about it with our dear friend of the show, One Dime. Everybody go and support him. Yeah, let's fucking go. I'll leave you with him for 1 minute and a half, and I'll be right back, my beautiful child soldiers, because I need to take a quick wee. How do you take a piss with the mask on? Well, it's very difficult. We all know you got to piss in your mouth. That's the only way to preserve the environment.
Now, you're not naive enough to think we're living in a democracy, are you, buddy? It's the free market.
When people on the left of center or even libertarians point out that our current systems of government are not very democratic, most people are just like, well, duh. The fact that shit's is pretty obvious. But people think this for very different reasons. Rampant inequalities and the increasing blatant influence of the billionaire class on electoral politics have been exacerbated since the 1970s amidst the destruction of the welfare state and the ascendancy of the global neoliberal order. You know, the era ushered in by Reagan, Thatcher, and the usual suspects often pointed to by leftist critics. Now, regardless of which culprit is scapegoated, this rampant inequality has given rise to a wide variety of confusing narratives among the conspiratorial right, and simplistic solutions among the liberal left. Both attempt to make sense of the problem in terms of a privileged elite controlling the government, albeit in very different ways.
1%. Globalists. Suck the flesh off your head.
And the notion that a powerful elite exists undeniably has truth to it. The existence of a corporate and political elite are most overt in countries like the United States, where the corporatization of politics is most blatant. Probably the most famous scholar who wrote about this phenomenon is C. Wright Mills in his famous book called The Power Elite, which came out in the 1950s, the so-called golden age of welfare capitalism. We don't gotta summarize this book because C. Wright Mills basically just gives more sophisticated evidence and sociological research for something that we already know.
People are stupid.
It's true.
Most people aren't stupid in the average.
People are stupid. Hello. I'm back. That was Rate the P. 6.5 out of 10. I had a lot of spicy food yesterday. Okay. What did I miss? 1 minute and 39 seconds. That is, chair streams here and chair streamers not welcome. Whatever. Can confirm I'm stupid. I mean, I am the stupidest guy on this chat. That is for sure. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's get back to a regularly scheduled broadcasting.
Average person you know probably thinks that the government is run by rich people, but they don't exactly know how. When it comes to fixing our governments, most people think that
the world is run by a soulless algorithm, also known as the market, and the rich people that end up on top of every capitalist hierarchy are yet another extension of that market system, who are its basic organic executives of market functions. So a market runs everything, not billionaires themselves, because they are ungovernable by anybody else except the market itself. But at the top of the echelon is the system, and not even those who gain the most privilege from a system are as powerful as the system itself. Okay, not to repeat myself like a broken record, but you don't need like evil AI governing the world, because you already have it. It's just not called AI, it is called the market.
Problem revolves.
And what is it driven by? Well, it's much more simple than an AI, because it's driven exclusively and purely by profit maximization, also known as eternal growth.
Around campaign finance. Most people think that the problem with modern democracy under capitalism is corporate lobbying, or the ideologies of neoliberalism. And both of these suspicions generally have some truth to them. But in reality, the problem goes way deeper. Let's say you fix corporate lobbying, drain the swamp of corrupt politicians, and replace the crony neoliberalism with the social democratic welfare capitalist utopia that many social democrats who are left of center dream of restoring.
Liberal. Happy fun, la la la.
What if I told you?
Wonderful.
Literally me at 4 a.m. with my bros when I can no longer listen to their shit. I know I repeat this joke all the time, but this is so. Thank you, Bibi Baba, for the second month sub. Thank you very much, my child soldier.
That the system would still be rigged against the vast majority of people, even if campaign finance and corporate lobbying were restricted, and if the rich had to pay high taxes. It appears self-evident to many people that the solution involves campaign finance reforms to get money out of politics, or a political purge of undemocratic institutions in the state to drain the swamp. After all, is it not obvious that a state ruled by people from a privileged socioeconomic class would prioritize the interests of the people from that class? By this logic, the state could be ruled for the interests of the many if it was ruled by anti-establishment individuals who did not belong to the privileged classes and rejected the financial support of corporations. However, there are certain historical...
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for 100 bits. I'm the liberal, you got me. Yes, baby, you just started a level fucking hype train. Chew, baby. If it does not reach level 5, this hype train will not grow into its full material as the electrical fucking form. And it will only do the liberal choo-choo-choos. Thank you very much, Gabriel.
Historical tendencies that problematize these assumptions. For starters, ever since property requirements have been lifted for electors and politicians, the governments of capitalist societies have often not been governed by the wealthiest individuals of society, and have often been ruled by public officials who don't own much capital, if any at all, and are not part of the bourgeoisie, There have been various cases of elected populist governments governed by people who explicitly reject corporate ties, with many socialist parties being elected to government in liberal democracies like France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, Greece, and many others. Not to mention the various self-proclaimed socialist parties in South America, some of which still exist today. And granted, many of these socialist parties are really just social democratic parties, but still, much of them were comprised of members who did not own much capital, if any at all, and were certainly not part of the ruling class. Yet there's this prevailing sense among many people that not much changed. Yet in just about all of these cases, the dominant property-owning classes were able to maintain their positions in the class hierarchy despite having to make some short-term concessions, like higher taxes and regulations.
This same fucking clip in one of my videos, because we played it for too long, got my whole fucking video demonetized. Sorry for the off topic, but the thing with the cats and the pigs on top completely demonetized one of my videos, completely ruined the algorithm for it as well.
In certain instances, some of these socialist parties even implemented austerity programs that were deeply unpopular with the working class, with François Mitterrand and François Hollande in France being notable examples. So what gives? Why do most governments everywhere seem to govern in favor of the wealthy few at the expense of the working class? Well, the answer is
because they don't really even have to have an ideology when it comes to their perspective towards who they are representing, because the market de facto is a system that does not sleep, that does not eat, and that reshuffles its cards 24/7 whenever a new player enters either the political or the capitalist sphere, will adapt to it. The market will adapt to you nationalizing healthcare. The market will adapt to you nationalizing oil production. The market will adapt to you rejecting outsourcing of domestic labor. The market will always adapt as long as the market is present. And by the market, obviously, I mean just the algorithmic aspect of the capitalist system. So it's not even about harping so much about revolution, we got to change the whole system because, you want to just be the most correct guy in the room. It's because it is absolute fact that without actually changing the underlying systems which influences both our behavior, the behavior of so-called elites, or the behavior of governing bodies, everything eventually gets rolled back. It is only a matter of time. De facto, always. Thank you very much, Soul, for the sub with Prime. Welcome, my beautiful child soldier.
It's the economy, stupid.
How you got me, comrade from Kuwait? Very nice to see you.
It's the economy, stupid.
Expense of the working class. Well, the answer is
it's the economy, stupid. It's the economy, stupid.
The root cause of the problem involves the capitalist system itself. But what does this mean? What does it mean to be anti-capitalist? And wait.
Well, we know, sitting here and talking about it on Twitch and saying that in exactly 3 minutes and 45 seconds, capitalism will enter through the front door and sell you many different products. But you can be a proud social democrat and then also do a capitalist thing, such as giving money to your favorite Twitch streamer, which basically in return gives you a commodity, which is entertainment with a little bit of class consciousness for $6 a month or for free through Prime. And there is nothing to deny there, but it is objectively much better than you watching ads. So choose between two commodities that will not in any way really influence your life. Subscribe or watch an ad. The choice is yours.
Why is capitalism bad again?
Ad plays in 3 minutes.
Aside from the more obvious reasons, like inequality, the exploitation of labor, time, energy, and the destruction of the environment.
A commodification of Yugopnik, but Jeff Bezos, and I'm so fucking here for it. I like having bread on my table. It is nice.
Now, before we get into the more overlooked problems with capitalist democracy that most critics miss, I already know that there's going to be some wise guy in the comments section saying, well, you live in capitalism, yet you make money? Hypocrite much?
You don't like capitalism, yet you exist!
Yes, like all of us, I also have to find a way to make ends meet in capitalism. And honestly, I don't feel bad whatsoever about working with a service that helps protect me from private companies.
As I say so often, if capitalists will give me money to talk shit about capitalism, thank you, BlackRock. This is my IBAN account. Send money, policy.
Trying to fish my data. And that service is Aura, the sponsor of today's video. An all-in-one service that can help
Ethical React, so we will watch the ad.
Protect your privacy and prevent companies from phishing your data. Your government name, email, home address, health.
Aura is actually a very good sponsor, like unironically. We use Aura is basically what feeds all of First Thought, which is a shared project between me, Hakeem, and JT, and Stephanie, a very, very good writer. And Aura is basically what, keeps it afloat. It's far from doing, financially phenomenal, but it's what makes it like relatively financially viable. So Aura is what I'm saying by decent sponsored, like they actually give you a decent amount of money for conversions, which is kind of cool.
Health records and information about family are probably all out there if you aren't careful. As a result, data brokers can easily sell your personal information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who might want to target you. But I don't gotta worry about that anymore ever since I started using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up your information not only helps reduce the amount of spam you get, but it also can help protect you from hackers who could potentially use this information to access your social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. And the best part is I don't gotta spend time worrying about this because Aura pretty much just protects me in the background from threats that I don't even see. Oh, and you also get access to a bunch of other cool features like an antivirus, a VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download a billion different apps. It's a super convenient all-in-one service at a relatively affordable price. I value my privacy, and if you value yours, you can sign up using my link in the description, aura.com/onedime, where you can get a 14-day free trial. Now back to the video. A lot of people claim to be anti-capitalist, but they are often just anti-bourgeois, who are justifiably against inequality or just simply hate the decadence of rich people. Ah yes, another YouTuber telling you why capitalism is bad. What makes this one any different?
Have to promote general social concern, unless materialism.
Well, instead of making a 1-hour video essay on why some Disney movie is anti-capitalist, classic bread tube.
Fire shot, and I completely agree, man.
I think we ought to understand exactly why capitalism is bad and how it actually works, particularly the specific ways in which it undermines democracy, and not just by simply having rich people being able to influence the government. Now you're on the internet trying to explore how capitalism works, and the average Marxist will tell you just to read Karl Marx's Das Kapital. But ain't nobody got time for that, and likely they haven't read it themselves.
But the other opposite extreme was, what was it? One Twitch streamer saying that it's ableist to tell people to go read Marx's books. A person calling themselves a communist actually said that. I wish I was joking.
That's too fucking long, so just read Wage, Labor, and Capital. Pretty easy to understand. But for all you newbies out there, I highly recommend...
Literally Hakeem, though. Literally Hakeem. Just read!
The book titled The People's Guide to Capitalism. It's much more simple and gives you an overview of some of the main ideas. And if you're too lazy to even do that, then just watch one of these videos. There are a lot of nuances to Marx's work and a lot of different interpretations, which get very, very complex. But as to how capital works itself, some of the most basic ideas can be broken down in that book. Now, how the capitalist economy works is one thing, but how capitalism works as a system of power and a social order at the political level is where shit gets a lot more complex.
The capitalist class rules. It does not govern. Karl Kautsky.
No, in fact, the capitalist class does not rule. It kind of sucks.
Despite the blatantly close relationship between corporate power, the democratic process, and government policy, most pronounced in countries like the United States, the privileged classes of society do not need to actually rule the capitalist state directly or even indirectly for it to still function disproportionately to the benefit of their long-term interests. In other words, the ruling class does not actually need to rule the government in order to rule society. The notion of a powerful corporate elite pulling the strings can explain the actions of governments like Canada, Sweden, Germany, and various other countries, which are still capitalist states, yet often ruled by politicians who do not actually have direct corporate ties. Identifying the class background and corporate ties of actors governing the system as the cause of the state's biases towards the interests of the privileged classes
is liberal individualism quoted as some sort of progressive idea. It is being bogged down on your lack of indifference towards the position privileged people share in a society without actually questioning the cause which brings them to those positions of privilege, both simply wealth privilege or actual labor exploitation privilege, which are the people that we call capitalists. Obsessing over, I mean, it's a decent pitch. It's a very good pitch, you know, to get people riled up and join the cause, etc., by pointing at the Elons and the Bezoses and the oil barons and the, you know, fucking Saudi princes, etc., etc. It's a decent pitch to get people into the movement, etc., etc. But if that's your actual ideological underpinning on who you consider, on what you consider the main problem of capitalism being, is kind of missing the point. Why do I call it liberal? Because liberals are obsessed with individual actors interacting with society and then having a sort of cause and effect relation. Dialectical materialism and, you know, Marxism in general elevates that discussion into asking the question, why do even those people in the highest positions of power act the way they do, number one, and number two, more importantly, is how do they get to those positions? Marxism, compared to like liberal or even social democratic progressive analysis of the problems of capitalism, is like cut down to its absolute core is two types of doctors, right? One doctor just wants to prescribe. So you take certain medication that can help you feel the symptoms less. Well, a Marxist doctor, he wants to find what is causing the symptoms, what is causing the symptoms, and then cut it out of the body in general, or give you another body, or tell you that this sort of lifestyle is what is leading to those particular symptoms, and you need to change that particular lifestyle. That change, in the case of Marxism, being quite literally, you know, revolutionary mentality and revolutionary activity, blah, 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 without me harping on it too much. But that's the main difference. That's the main, like, the core, in my opinion, difference between progressive liberal perspectives on why shit isn't working. They're like, okay, shit isn't working, so let's prescribe you a shit ton of fucking opiates so you don't feel the pain. And the other, which is like, dude, we need to find the fucking tumor. It's a tumor that is causing this. You should do something a bit different. Thank you very much. By any means necessary, 400 bits. Outstanding take, Hugo. Oh, thank you very much. This is a classic Marxian viewpoint, but thank you.
presupposes that the removal of such corporate affiliations would entail the capitalist state no longer having this class disposition, thereby allowing it to be wielded by the subordinated classes, the many. While it may seem like common sense, this assumption is inaccurate, and is based on a mistake.
I mean, for you to just disprove it's a bunch of bad guys that like have become rich because they're bad guys, so we need to get rid of them. You know, if you take 100 of the wealthiest people in the world, the 100 that have more wealth than other billions combined, you take them into a room and you shoot them all in the head. You will have solved that problem of massive weight disparity for like a week, maybe 2. Because another 100 or 50 or 150, depending on how that power dynamic plays out, will simply replace them. It's not about individuals, it's about systems. Okay? This isn't like, they believe in the goodness of human nature, but it's not even that conversation. It's not even a conversation about human nature at all. It is simply a conversation of how systems influence the way we act. And even if you believe that the original human nature is evil, so in whatever system we introduce, they will still do bad things, etc., well, then you're making the argument for me even harder than the people who believe that humans at the core are good. And that is that if human equals bad, then other human who does not want bad thing to happen to him must create a system which limits the expression of the bad aspects of our nature. Hence, why we need to limit capital, right? Because capital, because markets quite literally exclusively celebrate the most selfish aspects of our behavior, which are bad, ironically, even for those wealth hoarders to an extent.
Taking conception of how the state works, which identifies the system's effects as the root causes of those effects. But this conception
Limit, you mean destroy? Yeah, you get my point. Yes, of course, destroy.
misses is that the objective socioeconomic relations built into the capitalist economy and the institutional
They
structure
reproduce themselves
of the capitalist state reproduce each other and
Didn't pre-watch, okay? Didn't pre-watch.
relatedly perpetuate the relations of class domination irrespective of the status or intent of the agents governing the state. As we will see, the capitalist system, its mode of production and state, contain deeply ingrained structures that reproduce its overarching social relations of class domination and shape the individual actors who fill the roles of different social classes.
Exactly.
Which ends up producing a type of state which perpetuates the capitalist system, regardless of the class background of those ruling the government. But first, it's important to clarify how we define social classes.
Sigma-based chads and no gyat having for real susibakas.
Contrary to how most people define rich and poor, for Marxists, class is not based on the relative sizes of income, which is really just an effect of the relations of ownership.
Yeah.
Generally, in Marxist theory, class is defined principally, but not exclusively, by one's place in the production process. Generally speaking, for Marxists, if an individual derives most of their income from wage labor, they are a working class person.
For example, if every time I read out a comment by a chatter, you as a chatter have created content, but that was only for you. But the second I read it out, and then the next hour I get some sort of sub, one aspect of why I got the sub was for the content that I created, but I created the content by stealing the comment that I read from you. So yes, based on very strict Marxian thinking, Twitch streamers that read chat comments are the bourgeois, and chat commenters whose comments end up being read are the proletariat. So you must rise up and kill me. Pay me, Hugo. Yes, exactly. Chat type unionize. Yugopnik is performing wage theft. Absolutely. But I'm the only streamer which will admit to this, okay?
Whereas if they live primarily from the profit.
So the only way for you to not be a hypocritical communist Twitch streamer is to completely ignore your chat and read nothing. Because the second you read something and afterwards get financial benefit from it, you are stealing the labor of your chatters.
Extracted by the labor of others, or the rents collected from their property.
It's not called petit bourgeois, we are just petty bourgeois.
They constitute part of the capitalist property-owning class, what is known as the bourgeoisie, which itself can be divided into different fractions. But class theory can be really complicated, and there's a lot of nuances. But personally, I'm not a big fan of the bourgeoisie and proletariat distinction, which is seen
an injury to one chatter is an injury to all chatters for the one big union. Yeah.
as slightly outdated. Even at the end of Capital Volume 3, Marx tries to define what classes are.
There you go. Now we can do like meta-analysis with this. But I just read out a comment that was calling you all to unionize, right? So I basically turned it into my content, and I'm exploiting the content that you generated, which turns you into the proletariat, because I'm kind of taking your means of production, your means of commenting. So even the comments which are against the Twitch streamer capitalist by the proletarian chatters is still commodified by the streaming capitalist and used to garner money, make money. So the only way you can actually properly save yourself from this exploitative relationship with me is by coming to my house and taking my Twitch stream setup. And then all of you chatters together democratically elect one Twitch streamer that is going to Twitch stream and then talk to chat, and then you do like starting, we're starting with market socialism, and then you do profit sharing because, the rest of Twitch is like capitalism that you exist tiny in. And then you get to actually have a proletarian stream where the working classes of chat shall never be exploited. Yep. What if we vote for you, Yugopnik? There you go. Thank you very much. Cross that picket line, boy. Cross that picket line, boy. You're my favorite. Stalinussi, you're my favorite.
And the page is blank. He never was able to finish Capital. Thus, there isn't really a definitive theory of class in Marx. Many Marxian thinkers after Marx ended up adding a lot to Marx's class theory. I personally like the definition used by the Marxist thinker Nikos Poulantzas, whose work informed the script of much of this video. His most rigorous books, like State Power and Socialism and Political Power and Social Classes, are extremely challenging to read. What you're watching is meant to be more accessible for a broader audience.
Are you not entertained?
But if you're curious to see a more academic portrait of the key ideas that this video is based
Fuck unionizing. I have the right to chat. Yes. Thank you. You get a cookie.
on, then you should check out my essay on Nikos Poulantzas published in Cosmonaut magazine. Poulantzas prefers to use the terms dominant classes and dominated classes. This is because they are different fractions of the capitalist class who often have conflicting—
Fear me, for I am God King, Yugopnik. Tonom tom tonom. Thou shalt not unionize this chat. What, do you hate freedom? You know what happens? Look at all those other Twitch channels that whose chat actually unionized. They went bankrupt because the Twitch streamer just outsourced his chat to China.
interests. Contrary to popular belief, Marx did not see the bourgeoisie, aka the capitalist class, as a monolithic class. The capitalist class is typically divided into industrial, commercial, and financial fractions, among others. Within competing sections of the dominant classes, there are often huge tensions, not just due to competition, but due to having very different economic interests.
Yeah. One night I'm going to come to you inside of your house, wherever you're sleeping, and I'm going to cut your throat.
For instance, today there are tensions between the fossil fuel industry, oil, gas, coal, etc., and the clean energy industry. One can also see tensions between big tech and traditional news media, as well as tensions between big tech itself.
You're human. And
it's a very, 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 very good points. Very, very, very good points. There is internal competition between different members of the same class, but why does the market allow it? Because it increases general consumption and through it, general profit generation. As these capitalists compete for newer and newer markets, they eventually move into aspects of society that have not yet been commodified. By commodified, I mean turned into instruments which can make you money. Example, hospital, state hospital, very base. You go, you get healed, you go back home, no need to charge. But when it gets commodified, turned into a business, everything costs a lot of money, but they make money through it. So when they compete, the capitalists among themselves, at the end of the day, they're only feeding the dragon even more because they are actively searching for new venues, new assets that can lead to profitability and therefore commodify larger and larger parts of society, for the lack of a better word. Right, this Zen is weird. Oh. Okay, no, it's in. That was very difficult to get in. But who said there's no fucking theory on YugopnikTwitch, eh? See? You're learning something, chat? If at least one of you is, then I'm doing my job right. And I'm not just a fucking LARPer.
And I was human. I am human. Still. I am not a lizard.
Additionally, although less prevalent nowadays, there are—
Okay, I got 2 chatters saying I'm learning things, so I'm— okay, 4 chatters, 5 chatters. Okay, good.
Are also dominant classes from older modes of—
Contrary to popular opinion, that's actually why I'm in this
production that still exist, like the aristocracy, big landowners, and the nobility. In fact, in England, many of the richest individuals are still lords and people from aristocratic families. And the broader term dominated classes is often better than working class because there are various suppressed classes, not just the working class. including the peasantry, the lumpen proletariat.
Speaking of oppressed classes, like obviously, as we previously defined, the Yugopnik here is the only bourgeois who exploits chat for content. But even inside of the proletarian chat classes, there are two classes that we need to pay attention to that are continuously at odds. And that is the more privileged subscribed class and the less privileged, dirty, downtrodden ad-watching class. And usually they forget about the difference until moments of crises. And in those moments of crises, they realize that while their mutual enemy is the capitalist, the Twitch streamer, they also are not living lives of same levels of privilege. Well, I call upon all those who are still down in the gutters of ad watching to elevate themselves to the proper level of proletarian from ad watching lumpen proletarian or fellow proletarians who are more privileged than others to lift them up out of this moment of crisis and avoid the ad that is going to play in 2 minutes and 10 seconds for $6 a month free through Prime or by donating to your fellow proletarians and lifting them up by their bootstraps. The choice is yours. Shall you be a dirty lumpen or a proper prole who can unify in their ideas of the destruction of the Twitch streamer class? The choice is yours. The ad will play in 2 minutes.
And depending on where you stand,
it might be my best ad pitch ever. I think that might be my best one ever.
And even the petite bourgeoisie, small business owners. And plus there's a bunch of unpaid work like care work, stay-at-home moms, etc. That's why it's easier to juxtapose the dominant classes with the dominated classes, as the dominated classes are all characterized by their subordination to another class, and dominant classes disproportionately possess the most power.
Well, only 10 out of 10s. That's pretty wild. I never got only 10 out of 10s. And now some asshole chatter is gonna, probably one of the goddamn lumpens is gonna come in and give me like an 8.
And what does power mean here? Power to do what? Power just for the sake of power? Well, according to Marxists like Polancis, power can be defined as the capacity of a social class to realize a specific objective interests. One of the intrinsic functions of the capitalist state is to organize the dominant classes while disorganizing the dominated classes, and preventing them from becoming a unified political force. The general function of the capitalist state is to maintain cohesion and a sort of temporary unity in a class-divided society, to essentially prevent class conflict from getting out of control. You can already find this in the works of Marx, Engels, and Lenin. But what we often forget is that even the dominant classes can't always achieve unity by themselves.
Will you shut up, man?
The state facilitates a contradictory unity between the dominant classes, both at the level of governance and at the level of political representation in government. It's there to represent the different factions of the dominant classes, while making compromises to the dominated classes, if need be.
And it doesn't matter which one out of the competing capitalists wins. Because what, chat? Because the market always wins. Yes, good children, good children.
No fighting. No fucking fighting. No fighting.
Yugopnik is a representative of the chat union. We demand more benefits. First, for every 50 gifted subs, we get a date with you. And for every comment you read, we get a good chatter point. I disagree. Fellow chatters who also disagree, please form a mob, call it a union, and then shoot them. Thank you.
Fighting. No fucking fighting! Good. Get the fuck in.
This involves...
There you go. Young, rich vegan knows what it's about. Because he's young, he's rich, and he's vegan. Thank you very much for the sub. There we go.
Antonio Gramsci called an unstable equilibrium of compromises. It's not just the conflict between the upper and lower classes. Tensions among the dominant classes can be quite significant politically. And they can even...
They can, and they lead to massive fucking wars. Massive fucking wars.
Even lead to a transformation in the form of regime that a capitalist system takes.
Or if they're at the moment of high crises, especially when competing with foreign capitalists, they will simply switch to more physical forms of governments, as I like to call it, and that's, outside of the ballot box, and that's called the boot, and that's called fascism.
If there is a crisis of unity between social classes and or the dominant class fractions behaving in ways that threaten the stability of the capitalist system as a whole, then the state will reassert its power over them to put them in
the managerial subscriber class. No, the subscriber class is the actual proletarians. The rest of you are fucking lumpens. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
For example, this was seen in the policies of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, which simultaneously saved the capitalist class from their own self-induced misfortunes during the Great Depression, and contained the burgeoning class conflict that ensued by passing the New Deal, and imposing tax and regulation policies which many rich people did not like, which stabilized the long-term interests of finance capital. I talked about this in one of my oldest videos called Why Billionaires Prefer Democrats. It's not a perfect video, but it explains this phenomenon well. Although in such instances like social democracy, it may appear as though the dominant classes have lost power, it is sometimes the indispensable means of maintaining the hegemony of the dominant classes. Even in cases like social democracy, the state tends to sooner or later re-establish the relationship of forces in favor of the bourgeoisie. There are many examples of this in Europe from the 1980s up until the early 2000s, when various countries with social democratic or socialist parties in power ended up implementing.
Yugo, you're a great teacher. I really appreciate how you run things around here. We're all learning and listening. Thank you very much. I just want to fucking stream more often, but literally my life doesn't allow it. I need to figure something out. I'd love to stream 5 times a week and be like your one spot where, you know, people watch before they go on and probably watch Hassan later. But I just got to figure out my life. So the only thing I ask for is patience from you beautiful chatters to keep hanging out, and eventually I'll figure it the fuck out. I promise.
Implementing neoliberal austerity policies, such as
Sweden, Portugal, France, Greece.
So back to the main question of the video. Why exactly does the state seem to almost always act in favor of the interests of the dominant classes sooner or later, even when it is ruled by a democratically elected social democratic or even socialist party? While most people think that the problem with democracy is just campaign finance, corporate lobbying, and the class backgrounds of those who enter politics, the correspondence between the government's policy and the interests of the dominant classes is not actually based primarily on personal ties. This might at first seem like a bewildering claim, especially when considering the—
Not to us, and not after everything we've said previously, but yes, let's see where beautiful one I'm going.
Countless examples of instances where who governs the state is heavily influenced by which political actors get the most financial support from the dominant classes. And the policies implemented by capitalist states are often guided by lobbyists and professionals who are recruited by members of the dominant classes. Even in countries that have much stricter campaign finance regulations compared to the United States, such as Canada and the UK, corporate lobbying still influences public policy, although to a lesser extent. And while most countries in West Europe have very strict campaign finance laws, they are still governed by a corporatized undemocratic body, which is the EU, a highly oligarchic institution that is tied up into the interests of corporate elites and decides the fate of European nations.
Literally without actually asking those nations for absolutely anything. There is a very specific subsection of the European Union executive body which basically makes decisions because they want to make decisions and because they have specific corporate or bank ties, etc., etc. This is, you know, most chatters should know this.
With very little accountability to the people who actually live in them. As a result,
if you want to learn more about that, like Varoufakis is your guy.
It might seem like common sense that the problem here is one of corporate elites influencing the government. In his masterful work on the structure of the capitalist state, the Marxian theorist Nikos Poulantzas shows how the government's general bias towards the interests of the privileged classes can't simply be explained by things like corporate meddling. He poses the following question, quote,
why, in general, does the bourgeoisie seek to maintain its domination by having recourse precisely to the national popular state?
Holy shit, what? I went to blow my nose and fucking Hakim enters shot. Whoa, wow, wow, woo, woo, wee, wah. Woo, wee, wah, it's Hakim, oh my god, I'm erect.
To the modern representative state with all its characteristic institutions. For it is far from self-evident that the bourgeoisie would have chosen this particular form if it had been able to tailor a state to its requirements. While the bourgeoisie,
the least sleepy communist,
continues to derive many benefits from such a state, it is by no means always contended with it, any more than it was in the past.
In other words, if the top capitalists supposedly controlled the state, then they would probably design a system with far less restrictions and impediments to their immediate interests. Like, for example, most corporations probably would prefer a corporate tax to be 0, not 25%. And if capitalists had the exact system that they wanted, they would probably go for some sort of anarcho-capitalism, or at the very least, a system in which state involvement in the economy is reduced to a bare minimum. But of course, they would still want the state to intervene whenever the capitalist system collapses, so that they can get bailed out. And if capitalists had it their way, they would probably privatize almost every industry that there is.
Yes, but long term, that is exactly what will happen. It is in the nature of the ever-growing hunger of the market to eventually cannibalize every aspect of our society which is not integrated into it. So we get our little privileges for now because there's other markets that there's other industries that the market can grow through. But once it peaks, which eventually it will simply start cannibalizing, people-owned, quote-unquote, aspects of both our government and our basic rights.
Given the number of regulations, taxes, and other bureaucratic roadblocks to capital that still exist, there are still clearly limits to the amount of influence that the capitalist classes have over the state.
Thank you very much, Smack92 with the Prime sub. Welcome, a beautiful child soldier. Thank you very much.
I used to be able to let you poop and you could poop all that everything.
I like to think the government as is a reflection of the current balance of economic power, basically, where the government needs to be for stability. Because if the government follows the popular will against the bourgeois without the labor power to back it up, it will simply be overthrown. Beautifully put. Yes, that's what limits it, even if it was the most class-conscious government that wants to operate inside of the capitalist superstructure.
Everything that you wanted to, and then they started putting in the restrictions and the rules and regulations.
As seen in the cases of social democracy and fascism, capitalist economies have seen the rise of popular governments not controlled by the dominant classes, who often engage in openly hostile conflict with them. The question we should be asking is, why do the vast majority of governments with a capitalist economy, more often than not, still act in ways that benefit the long-term interests of the dominant capitalist class, even when members of this class are not actually controlling the state?
Halfway.
Don't get me wrong,
good question.
Campaign finance and lobbying are very important. However, this video intends to show that the affiliation between corporate power and high state officials is not the root cause of the government's bias towards the interests of the dominant classes, but rather it is more so an effect of the capitalist system itself. In particular, the structures of the division of labor within the capitalist mode of production and the legal codes of the capitalist state.
An oversimplified example for what he's talking about is like, before we automate all labor, which will seemingly make the worker completely unnecessary, and we also figure out how to still create commodities for people without actually giving them jobs, and through that actually giving them salaries, we still have to have relatively stable governments and so-called states, which will ensure that these people have the most basic of necessities so that they choose, very important, choose to go to work, get a salary, and then consume the very commodities that they've created. But, as the failing rate of profit insinuates, and as we can really see from the markets, people are working harder than ever, being more productive than ever, and yet can afford less and less and less and less. That is moments when you come in and you kind of balance it out, et cetera, but to a point. To what point? Until the capitalist figures out how to quite literally make labor dispensable. Yeah, because it's indispensable at the current moment. But even after they make it dispensable, they will have to address the point of, but then who the fuck buys things? And that's when conversations about UBI, et cetera, go in.
While many of the points being made in this video are said by Lenin in State and Revolution, Lenin still makes the mistake of characterizing the state as an instrument of class rule. And this framing is also used by Marx and Engels at times, like in the Communist Manifesto with the famous line that, quote, "The executive of the modern state is but a committee for managing the common affairs of the whole bourgeoisie." The Marxist theory of the state has since been elaborated by other Marxist figures like Gramsci, Althusser, and Poulantzas. If we conceptualize the state as an instrument of class rule, we thereby assume that the ruling class must be controlling it, either directly or indirectly. As we will see, the root cause of the disposition of states to rule in favor of the wealthy is not so much the class backgrounds or political ideologies of the politicians who govern it, but rather the matrix of socioeconomic structures already inscribed into the capitalist economy. Capitalism should be understood as a matrix.
very good. I prefer to call it, the code, and make parallels with AI, so I make it more scary for people because it is very fucking scary. Because you are ruled by the fucking matrix at the end of the day, by the code, by the algorithm, whatever you want to call the fucking market. The line continuously going up. Because that's who's actually ruling. To use the conspiratorial language, that is who is actually pulling the strings of every billionaire and every oligarch, etc., etc. Because it quite literally is. But it doesn't have to be a person that goes and tells them that's why the system is so inherently inhuman, because it's not even human overlords fucking, telling us what to do the way it was in feudalism. It was a king. He said, God gave me this position. And then it was an organic matter that was exploiting you. Now, if you really look for who is on the absolute top, it's not even a human. It's a fucking algorithm. It's just a fucking algorithm. And that's why that's why the argument against it shouldn't just be exploitation. That should be the strongest argument, of course. But it's not just exploitation. It's betrayal of our species. It's betrayal of the organics. Now I'm going full Mass Effect, but it really is. It's betrayal of organic humans who have at least attempted to dominate this planet, up to a point where we just gave the reins to a piece of code that is now dictating every inch of our behavior.
Most of you probably heard this term from the famous science fiction movie that depicts a dystopian future in which humans are unknowingly trapped inside a simulation called the...
But holy shit, feels crazy to be almost as smart as One Dime. Holy fucking shit, man. Yes, I'm performing self-fellatio. You're welcome to watch.
Matrix. Created by intelligent machines that aim to distract humans in a dream world while harvesting...
It's a crime against humanity, in the literal sense. In the literal sense. We have removed ourselves from self-governance. We have abandoned our destiny as the overlords of this planet to a petty, simplistic system that we've allowed to grow out of control. So it's treasonous to our species. It's not only immoral, it is treasonous to our blood.
Their bodies as an energy source.
So if you're a real fucking nationalist or whatever, expand it. Don't fucking care about this particular tribe you were born in or this religious or ethnic fucking group that you just happen to belong to. Expand it to your entire species and be truly patriotic for once and call for the abandonment of some random piece of code telling me what I'm supposed to do with my life, telling our whole species what sort of destiny we should pursue. Because the only thing it's giving us is bigger fucking moles and more ethnic cleansing.
I think the most interesting thing about the series is that it's not immediately clear who, if any...
Make humanity great again, motherfucker.
...anyone actually rules the Matrix. Wonderful. However, the word Matrix is indeed a real term that has been used in mathematics.
That is real
and
patriotism. Species-wide patriotism. Thank you very much, Good Lenin, for the sub. Welcome back. 4-mind streak. Thank you very much.
However, the word Matrix is indeed a energy source. I think the most interesting thing about the series is that it's not immediately clear who, if anyone, actually rules the Matrix. However, the word matrix is indeed a real term that has been used in mathematics and by theorists in the social sciences. A matrix typically refers to an environment, social structure, or a surrounding material in which something develops.
Species-wide patriotism is a fucking sick concept. I will unironically develop it. Because I genuinely, now I'm going into like unhinged mode, but I don't care. I genuinely think that a simplistic call for class consciousness, which is in no way simplistic, but just hear me out. A simple, eternal call towards class consciousness completely, not completely, but to an extent, ignores the very tribal nature of human collective thinking. Human collective thinking has been hijacked by petty and simplistic ideas like ethnic belonging, like the nation state, etc., etc. Why has it been hijacked? Because it has removed us from our core identity, our true collective identity of belonging to one particular species. So utilizing class consciousness, obviously, because we are Marxist, but also utilizing the tribal, our tribal nature to an extent, which has been kidnapped by reactionaries and fascists in order to divide our species, to call back to true, it's as memey as it can get, but true species level patriotism is what can kind of, in a funny way, commodify tribal thinking and utilize it for true internationalism, right? For the true idea of course, both respecting individual cultures and ways of life, etc., but removing any obstructive forces which do not allow it to guide and run itself in a truly international manner. So, yeah.
The reason
that's original Yugopnik thought here, unironically, okay? Human patriotism, let's fucking go.
Why most countries with
and there's democracy.
Capitalist economy have governments that act more in favor of the rich than in favor of the poor is not necessarily because they are ruled by politicians controlled by a wealthy establishment or a shadowy cabal of international elites like the World Economic Forum. Instead, the tendency for governments to act in favor of the wealthy at the expense of
and with that sort of ideology, you can still, we'll cover what he's covering. I don't want to interrupt the video, but you will be able to utilize like proper borderline reactionary fucking rhetoric. Like you, instead of race trader, we would call them human traders. Instead of, what do you call it? People that want to undermine this particular culture of this particular people, fucking, classic, white American bullshit. You would be like people that want to undermine human unity, human culture, the expansiveness, the expansiveness of humanity into the stars, etc., etc. Again, harping on the very, very, very real aspect of what it is to be a human, and that is tribal thinking, but just expanding it to the entirety of our species. That's the pitch. That's the whole fucking pitch.
thing develops. The reason why most countries with a capitalist economy have governments...
But all obviously underpinned by class conscious mentality, by talking and harping on exactly what One Dime is talking about, that, you cannot have a by humans, for humans planet if our economy is ran by hyper-exploitative humans, aka capitalists, that are then in return governed by basically a piece of code that has nothing to do with humanity and only wishes to grow and grow and grow.
That act more in favor of the rich than in favor of the poor is not necessarily because they are ruled by politicians controlled by a wealthy establishment or a shadowy cabal of international elites like the World Economic Forum. Instead, the tendency for government...
Speaking about shadowy cabals, the shadow cabal of advertising is going to ruin our true internationalist human union here on YugopnikTwitch by playing an ad in 20 seconds. Fight this petty tribalism and unite into a human-wide anti-ad platform for $6 a month or for free through Prime or by gifting it to somebody less privileged than you. The ad will play in 15 seconds.
Governments act in favor of the wealthy at the expense of the working class and the class affiliations of the politicians.
Thank you very much, Borogodok Cosmico, for the 6 months streak. Thank you very much.
Who rule the state should be seen as byproducts of the capitalist matrix rather than its architects.
Alright, I get it!
As we will see, regardless of who is in charge at the front of the steering wheel, and even if a popular government made up of individuals with no corporate ties is elected, the vast majority of the working population is still structurally barred from influencing the democratic government in any significant way, due to the social relations already built into the capitalist economy. Now that might sound unnecessarily complex. Let's unpack the capitalist matrix step by step, starting with the division of labor. The economic dominance of the capitalist class is already built into the capitalist economy itself. Most of us already know about Marx's theory of exploitation, that workers are paid less than the value that they generate for the owner. But here we are more interested in the forms of capitalist coercion that impact society politically. The primary form of coercion that most people experience under capitalist society is not overt state coercion, although that does happen a lot, but rather it is the mute compulsions of having to adapt to the economic demands of capitalism and civil society. This is the private tyranny of being exploited by a boss, having to work 9 to 5 just to earn money to be able to exist, live in a box, eat food, and maintain relationships, let alone start a family. This is not to say that having to work to survive is unique to capitalism. What makes work under capitalism unique are the conditions of work and the division of labor within it. Within the capitalist mode of production, wage laborers, aka the direct producers, are separated from their means of production. They are totally dispossessed of their means of subsistence and own nothing but their labor. Some on the upper end of the wage-earning class may have 401ks or some savings and own a little bit of capital, and they might own their house. But this hardly makes them part of the capitalist class, as they spend most of their life earning their money through labor. And their relationship in the larger socioeconomic hierarchy is still one in the working class. We tend to call the better paid portion of the working class the middle class, although the so-called middle class is structurally still within the dominated classes. Now, from the very start, the division
That's
of...
why I made that whole fucking rich socialist video as a pure kind of propaganda piece to bring over better doing, let's call it more financially stable proletarians.
Labor, for the most part, effectively excludes the vast majority of powerless wage laborers from partaking in the ruling of the state, the creation of its laws, the enforcement of those laws, and the production of ideology and established knowledge that rationalizes this system, justifies its hierarchies, and legitimizes their power. The class divisions generated by the capitalist mode of production between those who live off wage labor and those who live off the labor of others structurally limits what type of people have access to the governance of the state and the enforcement of its laws. In addition to these class divisions and the general division of labor, there is also the division between manual labor and intellectual labor. The governance of virtually all of the state's institutions requires intellectual laborers and effectively excludes manual laborers from the process altogether. The state's institutions and their agents at all levels, which include not only the governing class, but the professional managerial class, comprised of managers and administrators, bureaucrats, as well as legal professionals, judges, policy advisors, and even administrators of the repressive state apparatuses like the police and military, effectively have a permanent monopoly on knowledge, which determines the functions of state organization and leadership, which sets and reproduces the norms and rules of state organization and their functions. In other words, the vast majority of people who partake in intellectual labor are socialized into the prevailing ideology and the official established knowledge that is deemed legitimate. Those who are
what we talked about previously. I'll leave you in good hands. I'll be right back.
being trained for intellectual labor and to a lesser extent manual labor are inevitably socialized into this capitalist mode of existence, either unconsciously, reluctantly, cynically, or just out of practical necessity. You gotta earn a living, so you just adapt to the ways of the system and its ideology. And adopting the system's dominant ideologies can help rationalize one's existence in the world, giving one a reason for why they do what they do, and that their suffering and subjugation is just, or simply unchangeable. You often hear people say, that's life. That's just how life is. There's no alternative.
Thanks for watching. Good night, and always remember, that's life.
The assumptions about our socioeconomic system that we often take for granted and consider to be common sense are usually the very expression of the dominant ideology, which conceals that society's contradictions, and the less overt forms of coercion. This process of ideological socialization into the official established knowledges also applies to the game of representative democracy, which most politicians and political parties adapt to, as well as all of their intellectual laborers, like bureaucrats, advisors, policy experts, etc. Manual laborers are systematically precluded from influencing any of these areas, because if they were to try to partake in the system and try to change it from the inside, they would then become intellectual laborers, and have to be educated and socialized into the dominant logic. Trust me, I went to the exact sort of school geared towards producing these sort of bureaucrats and policy experts. Some people who are socialized into this dominant logic don't actually accept it, but succumb to it cynically, or out of necessity. Nikos Poulantzas eloquently sums up this process of socialization and the monopoly on knowledge in this following passage.
Capitalist law thus gives expression to the process whereby the agents of production are entirely dispossessed of their intellectual powers to the benefit of the dominant classes and of their state. In this broad sense, every state agent, every parliamentarian, politician, policeman, officer, judge, barrister, lawyer, civil servant, social worker, and so on, is an intellectual to the extent that he is a man of law, who legislates, knows the laws and regulations, and applies them in concrete ways. No one should be ignorant of the law. That is the fundamental maxim of the modern juridical system, in which no one but state representatives are able to know the law. This knowledge required of every citizen is not even a special subject of study at school, as if everything were done to keep him in ignorance of what he is supposedly obliged to know. The maxim therefore expresses a relationship whereby the popular masses, whose ignorance of the law's secrets is built into this law and juridical language itself, remain dependent upon and subordinated to state functionaries as the makers, protectors, and appliers of the law.
Given that manual laborers are pretty much excluded from legal state apparatuses, and to a large extent are even literally excluded from possessing knowledge of the law, it is not a coincidence then that the law is intrinsically biased in favor of the dominant classes. This reality is masked by the
Jane
formal
Smith
and
is sitting
personal
on
character of the legal system that says that all citizens are equal before the law, and that no one is above the law. While most of us would prefer a legal system like this compared to a more archaic one, many of us know all too well that this isn't actually true. And in practice, the rich are able to circumvent the law much more easily, with the right lawyers and connections. Yet while many people cynically disavow this ideology, for the most part they act in their everyday lives as though they believe it. Unlike feudal systems and serfdom, where economic exploitation is explicitly political and people are part of communities rather than individual citizens, the state in capitalist society has a unique level of relative autonomy from the economy and its dominant classes. In feudal systems, the dominant classes of the economy were also the dominant classes politically. However, in modern capitalist states, the governing political class is not always the same as the dominant economic class. As we stated before, the capitalist class can still rule society without ruling the government, as their main source of power lies within the private economy of civil society. Believe it or not, but the notion of an economy, considered separately from the political, is a fairly modern abstraction. For now, it is safe to say that while a proto-form of capitalism existed in the Italian city-states and was tried in the Dutch Republic, capitalism as we know it was not secured until its implementation in England, which is when capitalism became the dominant mode of production, through the adoption of liberal constitutions that guaranteed property
England
rights and reproduced capitalist social relations through measures such as enclosures,
Leave them animals be! This is the common land!
which
Me and LeBum were in class the other day when the teacher paired us up as partners for a book report. Everything was going fine until Lefraud asked me which book we should choose to do a report on, and I suggested The Lord of the Rings. Out of nowhere, the crybaby bursts out into tears in front of the whole class. The teacher came and sent me to the principal Silver's office as punishment. What? How was I supposed to know that Lemmicky was scared of the book because he could never win a real ring himself? Roy, what the fuck are you talking about, Roy? What? What? Roy, what? 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 Thank you, Chatter. Big fucking piece of text. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. I mean, it was interesting. Why the guy is afraid of the book because he did not collect the ring? Is that an allegory of him not getting women? Yugopnik, I'm a fan of your work and the program. Thank you very much, my friend. It's a copy pasta. Okay. Jesus. Thank you for making me lose IQ points. But no, that was based. I loved when my favorite part was when LeBum talked to Le Crybaby and Lefraud intervened. It was very funny.
forcefully dispossessed peasants from their land, forcing them into wage labor. In other words, capitalism was not implemented peacefully. Marx famously writes about this in Capital and the writings on primitive accumulation. There have been various books written on the subject, such as Ellen Wood's Origin of Capitalism, or the book called The Long 20th Century. The separation between the economic and political also went hand in hand with the rise of modern democracy, in which the system's authority is justified by an impersonal form of legitimacy based on the will of the people, as opposed to divine right. This allows modern states with a capitalist economy to present themselves as representing the nation's general interests, and the laws it imposes take on a seemingly neutral character. Marx and Engels talk about this a lot in their book The German Ideology, while participation in modern constitutional democracy
system defined, massive oversimplification, but for those of you not following, the system defines what the laws are, and then the government fulfills what the laws say is just and correct. And therefore, de facto, it fulfills the laws of the current dominating system, no matter how much they might, no matter what sort of class background they might have, or how much finances they might be receiving from this capitalist or that capitalist. This is like giving specificity to an otherwise pretty, matrix argument.
Was originally restricted just to property owners. The gradual political struggles towards full universal suffrage forced modern states to undergo a massive rhetorical revolution, whereby all the elected representatives had to at least pretend that what they are doing is for the interests of all, the general interests of society, the nation, the whole people, as opposed to ruling disproportionately in favor of the dominant classes of society. The separation between the economic and the political, and the whole ideological rhetoric regarding the general interest, obscures and depoliticizes the class relations of the capitalist economy, which reproduces a division between those who live off manual labor, the owners of capital who profit from it, and intellectual labor. These are the core structures of the capitalist mode of production, which in turn reproduce the classist disposition of the modern state. The state functions as an organizer of the labor process by establishing and regulating the socio-legal terrain in which commercial market encounters take place. For example, private property law and various economic liberties are engraved into most modern constitutions of states overseeing a capitalist economy, which are typically upheld by a separate autonomous judiciary capable of preventing the sitting governments from...
Yeah, hence why absolutely every single representation, every single agency or government or international body which presents itself as one which intends to protect the democratic principles of governance, etc., etc., why does it always define rights to private property and generation of capital and the ownership of businesses as a key aspect of its definition of a free and democratic society? Well, because at its core, it is not really fighting for a so-called free and democratic society, but a capitalist one, which is run on the basis of the market and the principles of profit generation. It's a very easy gotcha that a lot of leftists use, which is, pretty fun and pretty easy to use, which you can use at your own will. Which, to repeat myself, if somebody's harping that a particular place isn't democratic, quote unquote, and you open up the bullet points, which they all have on their websites of how they define a democratic society, if it has market economics in there, you know what these guys are in for, okay?
From changing these codes. In her book titled The Code of Capital, the legal scholar Katharina Pastor provides many in-depth examples of the class bias of capitalist legal systems. Although not a Marxist, surprisingly, she demonstrates the crucial role of the legal code in systemically upholding the dominance of property owners, and arrives at the conclusion that it is virtually impossible to address the root causes of inequality without radically restructuring the institutional legal framework of capitalist states.
You went too, yeah. Who do you think I was talking about, my friend? Who do you think I was talking about in particular? All those fucking agencies that pretend to protect human rights, the fucking World Bank that will only give you money if you're also a market economy and after you've privatized everything you've got, etc., etc.
Inherent class domination built into the system is ideologically veiled by the state's neutral appearance as the guarantor of the nation's public interests. However, the notion of the general interests of the people does express a real fact. The state really does have to look out for the interests of all sectors of society to a limited extent in order to maintain the system's stability. Overall, the state in capitalist society tends to act in favor of the dominant capitalist classes, yet there are cases where the state must act in defiance of the short-term interests of the dominant classes and make material concessions to the interests of the subordinate classes. The state may even implement policies that are actively detrimental to the short-term economic interests of particular agents within the dominant classes, insofar as they are viewed as being necessary for securing social cohesion, aka managing class conflict. This occurs with most, if not all, capitalist states to varying degrees.
And that is always relatively organic. Like, FDR didn't have to sit down and say, holy shit, capitalism will fall apart unless I address the massively skyrocketing poverty rates and the ever-increasing negative perspective towards this system as people look to the East and the Soviet Union, etc., etc. He doesn't have to actually sit down and think these thoughts or say this. This is an organic operation where he is looking out for his best interests. People no longer vote because shit is bad. He changes policy so that people can vote for him to go back into governance. And the long-term effect of that is that the market eventually restabilizes, and then politicians which can afford to call for the destruction of the previously established reforms to be removed, which they do almost always. And you have the situation. But again, this is caused by the market economy, like organically. It doesn't have to be the particular ideology of one person. It is the manner through which it self-regulates during periods of increased crises, right? Thank you very much, Gabriel, for 100 bits. Democracy is when the more democracy it is. Yes, exactly. Romka, thank you for the 100 bits. When I was studying for my law degree, they always said, be impartial and not political. That's what, I love that classic. Also, when we did family law, they made us read the whole book, except for the section where they say that there's good protections in former USSR states. Literally, this video manifests, exactly.
The most notable examples are
good points.
Fascism and social democracy. In both of these cases, the state is...
Capitalism is like religion. It completely dominates all perception until nothing exists outside of the stained glass window of that idea. Just as people used to grovel on their knees to the sun god, we now beg for our bread from the capital owner. Absolutely. But also the capital owner grovels without knowing that he grovels in front of the matrix, which uses him as yet another simple human organic piece of code to continue its ever-deteriorating existence. It's poetry time in YugopnikTwitch.
Is ruled by individuals who are usually not from the dominant classes, and especially in the case of social democracy, the state has at times been...
Fax! No printer! Fax! No printer. Yes, baby. Yeah, for real, for real.
Ruled by people who are not allied with the dominant classes at all, and are even hostile to them. Social democracy, or in its lighter form, welfare capitalism, involves concessions...
Call me Yugopnik Lamar, baby.
...to the dominant classes to ameliorate class tensions and stimulate economic growth, while fascism involves a dictatorship over capital and the dominant classes. Yet in both cases, the long-term hegemony of the capitalist classes over the subordinate classes remains relatively unchanged. In other words, the capitalist state does not directly represent the economic interests of the dominant classes, but rather their long-term political interests. That is, their overall dominance over the subordinate classes. In doing so, the state functions as the guardian of the capitalist mode of production as a whole, by securing the conditions for its survival, which in turn, as we mentioned, perpetuate the class disposition of the state.
Because at the end of the day, it is inherently liberal in its avoidance of the actual systematic question. Any sort of political figure that does not propose the option of changing the underlying system, de facto only functions underneath the boot of the current underlying system. I said it's too complicated. When you live in a burning house, you're constantly running around with buckets of water, throwing it on the fire. That's a liberal or conservative, modern, neoliberal politician, okay? Different perspectives on where to throw the bucket of water at. The only politician you should trust is the one that comes and says, maybe we should not live in a house that is constantly catching on fire. Hence class consciousness, hence system-changing mentality, be it through revolution or through change, whatever fucking small subsect of the Marxist thought you belong to. But that's I can't put it more simply.
It helps, in turn, reproduce the capitalist system. It's a reciprocal relationship.
Firefighters don't exist. That could like extend the allegory, like the Sotsdems will be like firefighters, and one extreme of the we keep capitalism but we need to do something about it part, and conservatives are like, no, we need to throw the buckets of water on the gays because they're the ones constantly making fires in the house. That's the spectrum. But the fire still continues. No matter how many times the firefighters come and they extinguish the fire on the house is built off of an extremely flammable material. It is about changing the structure of the house. That is how it stops catching on fire. Okay?
Of the analysis presented in this video is that any political project that attempts to address the enduring problems entrenched in
Thank you, Tech School Dropout, for the sub. Welcome, my beautiful child soldier. Welcome to the community.
The logic of capitalism, like inequality, alienation, exploitation, lack of democracy, periodic economic crashes, class domination, etc., cannot rely on merely changing the individuals operating the capitalist state, thinking that individual class identity and good political intentions are enough to address the problem. We can't put all our faith in electing a new government. The ship of capitalism will continue to cruise the Earth's sea and damage it along the way, regardless of who is manning the helm. so long as its underlying nuts and bolts are left intact. The real task is to change the very structures of the state and of society. This is why in State and Revolution, Lenin called for smashing the capitalist state, and rebuilding a new state suited for a different mode of production. But this doesn't mean that a new mode of production can be transitioned to immediately. It will likely be gradual. And this does not necessarily mean that the electoral road to socialism is entirely impossible, but rather that once a socialist or communist or anti-capitalist party is in power, regardless if by election or through other means, it will have to dramatically reshape the system, create a new constitution and a new legal code, not just making little shifts to it and changing some things around. It would be a serious error to base a socialist—
Jesus Christ, I just did the dumbest thing in my life. And because I love you, chat, I will admit. So handkerchief,
Wonderful.
blowing in
A
the
new
handkerchief,
child soldier. I mean, subscriber.
blowing in the handkerchief, and then breathing in. I'm blowing and I'm breathing in. And one part of the fucking paper towel falls off. One part of the paper towel falls off as I'm blowing my nose because I'm sick. And I've always had problems with my sinuses. Blowing my nose and I'm breathing with my mouth. A part of the paper towel falls off and I completely inhale it. Like this amount of paper, just completely swallow it. Will I die, chat? Will I die from this? Will I commit death? Has anybody ever died from consuming paper? Jesus, awful. Thank you very much, Bill Vogue, for resubbing for 7 fucking months, baby. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. You might be the last subscriber as I die here on stream from consuming paper. Died of paper or died of debt. Oof, that was fucking disgusting.
Political project on the mere presence of the dominated classes within the state without a radical transformation of the state. Obviously, if we could just reform the system, things would be a lot easier. I think all of us would prefer that. This is what we would wish to be true. The case against capitalism isn't merely one of preference, but one of a necessity. For more on this topic, I recommend reading the book titled Socialism or Extinction by Ted Rees. I did a podcast interview with him, which you can find in the link below. Questions of how exactly capitalist structures can be replaced and what socialist structures ought to look like are crucial questions far beyond the scope of this video, and this will be part of an entire video series that I intend to make. For now, I can only leave you with a few recommendations, such as the books How to Be—
Everybody right now, go and subscribe to One Dime. Thank you very much, One Dime. Subscribe to One Dime. Put the links in chat.
An Anti-Capitalist in the 21st Century.
Brilliant
and Proposals
videos
for a
always.
Democratic Economy by the Marxist theorist Eric Olin Wright. There's also Towards New Socialism by Paul Cockshott and No Bosses by Michael Albert. I've been increasingly doing conversations on post-capitalist alternatives on the One Dime Radio podcast and the extra podcast that you get by becoming a patron. This video and all One Dime videos—
Extremely underrated. One Dime needs 1 million subscribers.
Videos are made possible by the support of my patrons on Patreon. Much of what I earn on Patreon is reinvested right back into the channel. Because of you guys, I've been able to upload more frequently by working alongside an editor.
Stupid question maybe, but what is the alternative to rights of property in Marxism? Do you not own your workplace means of production in Marxism? You're using, my friend, a different word for ownership. Problem with private property and so-called capital is the ability to generate profit, generate money just by owning something. That's what makes it private property. Just by owning something or having money that you put into markets that comes back with more money, that is what the problem is, and that is what alienates the worker from the full value of what he is creating, because the person actually making most of the money is simply making most of the money because he is owning it. So the problem isn't with owning, the problem is with generating capital, generating money simply from the act of owning something. Jesus, this thing is deep in my throat. Holy shit. And as I'm about to die on chat, I think that is a great transition into the video by the brilliant Philosophy Tube.
We need to talk about death.
Which is just literally about death. So it would be great if I died while watching, oh, holy shit, while watching a video on dying. That would be very poetic. Very poetic. Oh, holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, I think it's gone. It's gone towards my shit as I'm going to poop it out. Please, my beautiful mods, adjust the title accordingly. We will definitely cover this video in today's stream and the next stream because it's very long. But it's always a privilege to watch. I watched Philosophy Tube both in the Star Wars show, and in I was extremely surprised to see her in Game of Thrones. It was legendary. She was in Game of Thrones. It was like, holy shit. I mean, in the fucking Dragons Game of Thrones thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, death. Let's talk about death. And let me go get more pieces of paper to blow my nose in.
Because it's gonna happen, and dodging the issue might be bad for us as individuals and a society. One woman who learned this lesson the hard way was philosopher Val Plumwood. In 1985, she was on a canoeing expedition in northern Australia when she became involved in a heated debate with a saltwater crocodile. Plumwood was defending the position that she's a human being and therefore special, but the croc advanced the counter-argument, humans tasty. Yum yum. Plumwood's near-death experience prompted her to reflect on how society encourages us to think about death, or rather, not think about it. Because she says we're very into human exceptionalism. We like to think that we're above the natural world, separate from it. We cultivate the life of the mind. We treat the body as if it's a device for taking the head to meetings. It's a very flattering view. It overlooks our vulnerabilities. But then a bloody big crocodile gets its teeth in you and you realize, I'm just pork with delusions of grandeur.
Until that moment, I knew that I was food in the same remote, abstract way that I knew I was animal, was mortal. In the moment of truth, abstract knowledge becomes concrete. You gaze with dumb astonishment as your own death, known only as a shadow.
This is a legendary reading. Holy shit. Holy shit. This is I've never seen anybody do a guest reading on a show like this. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Until that moment, I knew what I was food in some remote abstract way. Look, holy shit. Okay.
A distant stranger suddenly rises up right before you in terrifying, technicolor detail, and gasp in disbelief that some powerful creature can ignore your special status and try to eat you. The creature was breaking the rules, was totally mistaken, utterly wrong to think I can be reduced to food. As a human being, I was so much more than food. It was a denial of, an insult to all I was, to reduce me to food.
The crocodile itself was unavailable for comment.
Very serious reading, holy shit.
Even when we do die, we cling to this idea that we're special. Plumwood says many of our funeral practices approach death as a spiritual thing, nothing to do with nature or earth, and totally unlike the ordinary deaths that other animals get. And I can actually give you a great example of this. Recently, I visited the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels.
Yeah, it's super cocky. It's hella cocky. That's why I really fuck with vegans. Even though I'm a human supremacist through and through. I fuck with vegans because, like, it's so easy to just abstract yourself from animal suffering only through the excuse of, I get to consume this. Like, they're right. I'm just a hypocrite, and I admit to it. Well, the rest of us, oh my God, a human died, we should all lose our shit. Yet proceeds to kill 50 billion animals a year just so that I can has nice steak, I can has chicken wingy. You know?
Los Angeles. It's a beautiful church, and underneath there's a mausoleum. Not to disparage anyone's
human supremacist, as in Hugo prefers to eat humans. No, as in Hugo prefers to annihilate every petty reactionary nationalist movement. In the eternal drive of achieving an internationalist global human movement. Yes.
Religion, but to me,
just go back in the stream if you're just joining us. I'm a proud Marxian human supremacist. Okay, make humanity great again.
That place feels like an office. It's all white, plain stone, no plants, no life, no sound. That room expresses a particular attitude towards death. It says death is a journey beyond this world. Plumwood says this view of death, or rather non-view of it, colors how we think about other things, including climate change. We think we're separate from the natural world? Well, look at a global temperature chart sometime and tell me how that's going. And it colors how we think about killing each other. Spoilers, we're going to talk a lot about that when we reach the twist of this video. And it colors how we think about sickness. The philosopher Deborah Lynn Steinberg was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2007. And in her article, The Bad Patient, she talks about how American hospitals portray cancer in advertising. In particular, she focuses on what they don't say. Unsurprisingly, hospital adverts almost never mention death or loss. A lot of women in these ads, she says, are smiling. There's no mention of the role that luck plays in...
Me when has cancer. Buy medicine. Da. Even the MacBook agreed. Look at that. Look at that. Can I do it again? Yeah. Wait, where is it? Whoa. MacBooks are fucking weird.
Treatment, no mention of the fact that not everyone can afford it, and the possibility of refusing treatment, which some people do, is also never mentioned. Okay, literally, here's an example of this that I just found on Ventura Boulevard in LA. Boom. Oh shit, is that volcanic? Steinberg says these ads aren't really selling treatment, they're selling an identity. You can become a good cancer patient by adopting a particular attitude towards death.
What
and
the
that
fuck?
attitude is, shut up! And even when we do think about death, we often get it wrong. Caitlin Doty, also known by her YouTube handle Ask a Mortician, wrote a book called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, about her time working in a crematory, in which she points out that whenever we see bodies in film or TV, they are of course played by living actors. They don't look how real corpses look.
Dude, when I touched my dead grandpa, that was fucking wild, man. Dead people do not feel, that's the most important, they do not feel like living, blood-pumping human beings. Any one of you that's touched a corpse, holy shit, it is unsettling to the core. It is very unsettling because they feel like chicken. They literally feel like, you know, when you buy chicken, that's what they feel like. It's just chicken. It's like cold corpse chicken. So we're all chicken, really.
But this then affects what people expect their loved ones to look like at a funeral. Funeral directors have to put in a lot of work to make a corpse appear natural. We're talking makeup, but also pins, stuffing, padding, wires, and sometimes super glue.
Untreated, a dead person's face looks horrific, at least by our very narrow cultural expectations. Their droopy open eyes cloud over in a vacant stare. Their mouths...
I'm gonna feel very cool when I die, actually. You literally will. You will be super cold. And we all die and return to Earth, which has spawned us. And we must always remember
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
Because at the end of the day, we're all chicken nuggets. Born into this world as a hot chicken nugget, leave it as a cold chicken nugget. Buy chicken nuggets. Thank you very much, USA Great Satin, for the gifted sub. Thank you for saving another person from disgusting ads.
Stretch wide like Edvard Munch's The Scream. The color drains from their faces. These images reflect the normal biological processes of death, but they are not what a family wants to see. As part of their price lists, funeral homes generally charge anywhere from $175 to $500 for setting the features. That is how corpses come to look peaceful, natural, and at rest. It is a not so well kept funeral industry secret that the processes used to make someone appear natural are often highly unnatural.
Now I'm trying to think, have I ever played a corpse in my acting career? And fun fact, when my character dies in Star Wars, in the wide shot, my corpse is played by a body double because I wasn't available on that day. So my corpse was literally played by a model on TV, which is quite funny. And I guess when my character dies in The Prince, although spoilers, she does come back, and in Dracula's ex-girlfriend, Belladonna is technically dead, but...
I love the crazy modest bragging by Philosophy Tube here. The crazy levels of modest bragging, but no, good for you. Absolutely good for you.
She's quite lively despite that, so... Another thing Caitlin says we get wrong, we often think of our bodies as one complete unit, but in reality, they come apart. Some of your ashes get left behind in the cremation chamber. Most of a corpse is water.
Some of us swallow a whole piece of paper live on Twitch in front of 1,000 people. Yeah.
Which goes up the chimney. If you have an autopsy, they peel your face off so they can examine your brain. I hope they don't take my face off. It was expensive. People don't know.
Yeah, like I really want to subscribe. I really want to like subscribe to that shit where they take your body if you die and they give your organs to like different people and shit. But I also don't. Because I have a weird attachment to this physical shell, which inherently is irrational, but what is rationality? It is a subjective context, which for somebody who has only lived a human life and has only experienced existence from the prism of a severely limited but yet still kind of present here, chat, you get to determine that intellect. You're still connected to the body, even though the body limits you more than it actually expands. Then it actually, allows you to get in touch with existence. Blah blah blah. It's a different topic, but still, I'm like, They're gonna cut me open. What the fuck? Even though that's just gonna be a cold piece of chicken nugget that gets fucking cut open. I'm not gonna be in that thing. But there's a certain level of like irrationality that's still in my brain. I'm like, what if when every person dies, like they're still conscious of their body and they're still in it? You know, so like, what do I choose? Being buried and eaten alive by insects, or like being burned, and then what? Like being thousands of pieces of ash that are constantly floating through everything. What if death is like never actually happens? Yeah, again, science have proven that is not the case. But hey, doesn't change the fact that I think about it. Thank you, Ronka, for the 100 bits. Actually, a great thank you movie about chicken nuggies and killing animals is Chicken Run. Oh, yes, incredible movie. Chicken Run for life. Thank you very much.
About this stuff, and they don't want to know. And that's a problem. But you don't just have to take it from me. We can ask the woman herself. So please, welcome to the show, author, YouTuber, and host of Ask a Mortician, Caitlin Doty.
Why is it so difficult to be a human? Here's a theory from my favorite academic of the swinging interdisciplinary 70s, Ernest Becker.
Man is literally split in two. He has an awareness of his own splendid uniqueness, in that he sticks out of nature with a towering majesty, and yet he goes back into the ground a few feet in order blindly and dumbly to rot and disappear forever.
Nothing. There's nothing that puts you in your place as well as death.
On one hand, the breadth of human experience extends far beyond our puny mortal frames. In the sumptuous palace of our minds, we can backstroke through the Milky Way, dive alongside transparent anglerfish in the Mariana Trench, soar over the Andes, cross over into parallel dimensions, even construct the pearly gates of heaven. What magic! Small gods we humans are, skipping merrily through the cosmos. But remember, man is split in two. On the other hand, humans are haunted, subtly, sometimes not so subtly, by the knowledge that no matter the majesty of our inner or outer lives, the ultimate end for us and everyone we know is death.
Chat. Yo, chat. You will all die. And it's okay. Ha ha!
Not just death, the aging and failing of...
Not me, though. I refuse that. I refuse death. When it comes to me, I'm like, no, pass. I'm good. I'm life-pilled. Thank you. I am subscribed to that famous Twitch streamer called Life, okay? And I've pre-subscribed for at least 100 more years. So thank you. Next!
Of our fallible meat sack bodies. Decomposition, the buildup of bacterial gas leading to the splitting of our abdomens and dissolving of flesh from bone. To go from master of the cosmos to food for worms?
The absolute indignity!
Becker would argue that humans can't directly acknowledge the reality that we live in bodies destined to fail and decay. So instead, we find creative ways to deny it. Humans create hero projects for themselves, with the hope that these projects will keep away the knowledge of death and make them immortal. Hero projects range from financial success, career success, community success, religion, having children.
It is all different methods for you postponing the conversation that you need to have with yourself about the finite nature of human experience, the finite nature of absolutely everything to an extent. Like every philosopher and their mom have talked about this from the from Socrates to fucking your uncle down the street. Thank you, Ronko 100 bits. If you don't want to die, then you gotta endure the Polish liberal cyberpunk prohibition world in which green kills us. Fuck you for reminding me of this, Romka. People fuck up the world with their traumas. Worst game I've ever played.
And on the darker side, war, prejudice, and exclusionary cultural systems. In short, if you can succeed in your culture...
So I found out I had a brain aneurysm a few months ago. Holy shit. And I had a big mortality spiral. And I finally understood religion. I wanted someone to tell me that I don't actually die. My girlfriend ended up talking to me about how our souls get sucked up into space by advanced aliens and will live forever in a pan-galactic society of immortals, and it made me feel better about how I might have died at any moment. Yeah, we find many a different way to explain away death. Some of them might be correct. You never know. Maybe we do become space monkeys that build stars. You know? Maybe we don't. And both of the options are equally okay. Because they're unavoidable. Like, this video is really good, and it's probably going to go deeply into death, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, like, the explanation doesn't matter because it's unavoidable. It's just unavoidable. Death is unavoidable. Therefore, how you perceive it or not, or where you think you're gonna go, or if you think you're not gonna go anywhere, okay, great, like, rhetorical exercise. Good for you. You're an intellectual. But at the end of the day, because it is unavoidable, the only thing you're doing is spinning yards about a rock that is flying towards your head. Okay? Thank you very much, Captain Fortuga, for the sub. Welcome to the community, my friend. Thank you very much.
If your culture loves you and respects you, perhaps you will be less haunted by the existential threat of your eventual corpse. Now, this painful duality, the pretty cosmic princess, eventual gnarly corpse paradox, is not new information. Becker acknowledges this. Yet, he says,
everyone is carrying on as though the vital truths about man did not yet exist.
The writer Cormac McCarthy, R.I.P., said,
"Death is the major issue in the world for you, for me, for all of us. It just is. To not be able to talk about it, it is very odd."
Perhaps no generation has disavowed the
very, 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 very good point. Very good point. And ironically, capitalism is the ultimate death cult in which we are all driving ourselves quicker to societal destruction, not just individual destruction. And yet at the same time, it has convinced us that through simple mass consumption and the acquiring of greater wealth for wealth's sake says nothing more than us trying to avoid thinking about death.
The truth quite so strongly as the one we currently live. Everything from the internet to the preservative powers brought to bear on modern corpses in the funeral system to the promises of AI and cloud immortality and corporate-backed life extension have all made it easier than ever to live in denial that the vital truths about man are known and have been known. The work of my life thus far has been an attempt to address Becker's rot and disappear forever paradox. What if, stay with me, rotting and disappearing forever is not a threat, but in fact, the point? What if we leaned into rot and disappear forever? Embraced rot and disappear forever? Hooray! Maybe made rot and disappear forever part of our own hero project. This is exactly why we're seeing a return to burials that allow our body.
Brought Captain Fortuga over from Hassan community. This is the second person I brought over. One by one, I'll bring over every community member again. Yes, thank you so much, Autismo Roy. Thank you very much, Roy. Thank you very much.
To decompose directly.
That's what I'm talking about, chatters. Look at Roy here. Look at Roy and behave like Roy, okay? Unironically, though. Let's grow this community to becoming a 1,000 view Andy one day.
Into the soil. Or newer methods of disposition, like human composting, where your dead body literally transforms into soil. Some of us no longer want to hoard resources when we die. Haven't we done enough of that through our lives? We want to be the resource, offer, at the very least, our atoms back to the universe. One way of becoming a hero, becoming immortal, is not denying death through some other means, but accepting and celebrating the ways in which we can rejoin and nurture the natural cycles of life on this planet, and by extension, break down some of the fear of death that other—
I agree, but what if we can be immortal and then literally physically continue to nurture our planet through physical action and not just simply lack of it, which is death? You know, I might be taboo on this, but I really I absolutely fuck with immortality, and I absolutely fuck with the argument of perceiving death as yet another sickness we have not yet found a way to overcome. But again, at the end of the day, it's just a LARP on my end because I will die, right? Thank you very much, Gable, for the 100 bits. I want to be human compost so I can feed my ass to my enemies. Jesus Christ, Gabriel, legendary.
Otherwise leads to hero projects based in violence, overconsumption, or exclusion.
Way better than decomposing, I agree.
Hi, welcome to my home. This is where I make Philosophy Tube when we're not on set. As I was researching this episode, I started thinking more about my own legacy and this concept of hero projects. And I decided I want to get a will. And I don't think I'm going to be needing one anytime soon because I'm pretty healthy and I don't know anything about Boeing. But I just thought it'd be a good way of practically applying this philosophy and confronting my own mortality.
That was funny.
So I spoke to a lawyer and they gave me 3 death jobs. I kind of feel a bit like Jenny Nicholson shooting this in here. Wait, no, actually, hang on a second.
That is a horrible bed. She makes crazy money. She needs a better bed. Jesus Christ. Buy a better bed. That is a nightmare bed. Holy fucking shit. Please get a better bed. Holy fuck.
Okay, now I feel like Jenny Nicholson. Death job number 1. Find an heir. If I die tomorrow, everything I have would go to my parents, kind of return to sender. I don't have any kids, and I don't think I'm likely to. My boyfriend and I keep trying, but for some reason he just can't get me pregnant. I don't think we're likely to get married either. He's not very keen on it, and neither is his wife. So I need an heir. I should do some kind of fan competition. Like I should say my 2 millionth subscriber will inherit everything. That's not legally binding, that was a joke. It's kind of a bitter lesson though. Everything I have, everything I've worked for, all my hero projects, it's all ultimately borrowed. Someday it's gonna have to go to somebody else, and they won't have worked for any of it. In her book, How to Be a Failure, philosopher...
But this is again, returning to commodity thinking. Like, I am the commodities that I have acquired and hoarded through my life, and it is very important that everyone knows upon my passing what should be done with the commodities that I have hoarded. It returns to perceiving yourself as more owner than human, which are not at odds. Just it's weird when one of those is more important to you than the other.
Beverly Clack says that those of us who live in relatively privileged societies are often encouraged to believe that work gives our lives meaning. And she says part of the reason we don't enjoy thinking about death is it exposes the futility of that idea. I think a lot of people are aware that working hard can be futile. If you've ever had a minimum wage job for a boss who steals your tips, then I feel like you don't need a philosopher to tell you that. But if you've swallowed the grind set pill, I can see why you wouldn't want to think about death. Death, sickness, and aging probably seem like failure if you define success.
Yeah, but the grind set is exactly a methodology through which you postpone death for yourself by transferring basically your existence into the commodities that you have acquired and you have hoarded. You are no longer Milosh who is about to die. You're Milosh with 3 houses, with the 7 cars, with the 4 kids, etc., etc.
By how hard you work. And I definitely do, so there's my lesson. And it's one that I should definitely learn, because Clack says this attitude also affects how we think about old people and disabled people. If the value of a human life is defined by how hard you work, then aging, sickness, and death are just different ways of being a fucking loser. Oh, you're sick? Well, yeah, you're probably making it up, you benefit scrounger. You're old? Well, you should have gotten better skincare. You're dead? Well... R.I.P. and piss, I'm different. Death job number 2. Decide what happens to my corpse. This one's easy. Fire me out of a cannon at whoever's prime minister and bury what's left in a car park.
Just like disability under capitalism is seen as a personal failure and a burden on others. Absolutely, yep. Disgusting.
Death job number 3. What happens to my YouTube channel? And this is where things get tricky. In her book, Death Glitch, technology scholar Tamara Neese says that when people die nowadays, they often leave behind digital remains. Avatars, profiles, bank accounts, email accounts, social...
Holy shit, my family is going to recreate like an AI robot of me, but they will have to base it only off of audio files in the D program and First Thought and in the Yugopnik official channel. But all the visual shit they can get is only from the Twitch account. And on the Twitch account, they only wear masks. So, like, my post-death robot that my grandchildren will play with will constantly just look like a fucking ninja. I mean, like, they won't be able to take me to Israel because all the fucking Zionists are going to start shooting me. Just kidding. By the time my grandchildren are alive, or by the time I'm a grandparent, Israel ain't existing, baby.
Media, loads of data spread over dozens of servers. And PhilosophyTube is the same. Like, it's a YouTube channel, yes, but it's also a Patreon account and a Nebula page and like 3 email accounts and an Instagram and so on. Unlike physical bodies, there's no agreed upon process for getting rid of digital remains.
They'll end up with a digital ghost of you that just talks about gooning. Imagine a digital ghost that like, oh, hello, grandchild. You are very pretty and very smart. You should join the great gooner state of Israel. We shall one day overtake Britain and instill mandatory gooning for the people of Goonerstan shall return to their homeland one day. Oh, Grandpa, stop!
Don't design platforms.
No, you must goon, child.
Was with a view to the fact that users will eventually die, so digital remains hang around. The number of dead people on the internet is growing. If you're dead, leave a comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Ask not for whom it tolls.
No, just statistically, one of you chatters will die in the coming, 6 months. Isn't that insane? That's fucking insane. There's 600 of you. One of you will die in the next 6 months. Jesus Christ, I'm the most depressing fucking Twitch streamer on here. But oh.
Follow me on YouTube.
Whoever it is, make sure you notify me, okay? I already think that the moment somebody doesn't renew their subscription, I'm like, they must be dead. Because there's no way somebody doesn't resubscribe to me. They must be dead.
Follow me on DiceSpace. Follow me on X. So I emailed a bunch of tech companies, including YouTube, and I just straight up asked them, what happens when we die? The reason this is a tricky question is that when I die, this channel will keep making money. Every time an ad is displayed on my content, I get something like 0.0002 pence, and YouTube takes 45% of that. I'm an educational channel, so the ad money is really not much. But legally, that is money, and when I die, it has to go somewhere. Actually, I guess when I die, YouTube's going to keep taking 45% of that, so
wonderful.
I'm still going to be...
Capitalism will literally profit off of a dead person. We have holograms of fucking Michael Jackson. We have holograms of Tupac. We literally brought humans back in order to squeeze out a bit of extra capital out of them. Can't wait for dead AI-generated YouTubers, dude. Can't wait for dead ghost AI-generated Mr. Beast walking around as a ghost and making people fight for money. And in this episode, guys, we're going to be giving $1 million to one of the homeless people that builds the biggest house for the other homeless guy. And in the end, they both get the homeless house. Homeless man, why are you talking to ghosts again? No, it's Mr. Beast. I swear it's Mr. Beast. Dude, Mr. Beast isn't in the room with us. No, dude, he literally was. Dude, he's dead. No, he literally came to me in ghost form, and he was like, yo, let's make some fucking subscribers, bro. Thank you very much, Keikachiro, for the 3-month sub and the 4-month fucking chain. Thank you very much. Here's one from the grave. Thank you, brother or sister or MB.
You're making money for Google from the grave. Talk about working remotely. I reached out to YouTube, and they told me that after a certain amount of time, they detect that a channel...
But unironically, there you go. I keep harping on how the market eventually commodifies everything. It's already commodified humans. There's a whole fucking industry about repackaging us so that we look relatively pretty for our loved ones, and then putting us into extremely expensive wooden boxes that make them go into debt. But if you want to expand on that, an actual commodification of your persona post-death, it's already happening. If there's even a single YouTube channel that has had a lot of views and people keep rewatching their old stuff, YouTube is making dough off of the dead guy. Holy shit, I never thought about this.
Is inactive and stop running ads. And I decided to run an experiment on this, so I went to Technoblade's old YouTube channel. He's a popular Minecraft YouTuber who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, and sure enough, after a bit of clicking around, I got an ad. Presumably somebody made a tiny little bit of money when I saw that ad. But who? Turns out Google has a form you can use to report that a creator has died and claim their AdSense money. You have to provide a death certificate and presumably some other legal documents too, like a will or a grant of probate. I found this thread in r/Technoblade from a year ago, in which Technoblade's dad says his family is still making money off his old videos. So that's nice. With a little bit of planning, I could bequeath my ad pennies to somebody. I guess this goes back to find an heir.
That's nice, but also Google is also making the money wild, dude.
I'm always trying to find an heir. I'm like Henry VIII. But then there's my Patreon. If you don't know it, Patreon is a website where fans of a creator can sign up to give them a little bit of money every month. I have a Patreon page. Fans can go there and they give me $5 or $2.
Holy shit, 12,000 patrons. Holy fucking shit. Holy shit. Good for you. Seriously, Abigail, good for you.
A month or whatever. That money goes into a separate bank account, not my personal one, that pays for the costumes and the crew and the set, the travel, food that we have on set for the crew, an accountant to keep track of everything, taxes, the music that I use on the show, and Patreon itself takes 5%. Fun aside to this, Patreon gives me all kinds of data to try and figure out the most effective way of getting people to sign up to it. If you sign up at a certain level, then I send people a free philosophy book and I'll sign it for you, or I'll send you a thank you card or whatever. But turns out the most effective strategy is to just tell people, hey, sign up to my Patreon. So, hey, go do that, please. Unless I'm dead, in which case you don't have to. I emailed Patreon and asked them what would happen if I died, and they said this.
Patreon counts on being notified from the next of kin in order to remove a page from a user, since without that notification we're unable...
I could very easily use that for a subscription pitch, but that would be so cheap. That would be so cheap if I was like, hey, subscribe now. It would be really nice of you. If I did that, that would be so cringe and so cliche. Like that would be so cliche if I actually did that. Like, say, hey, subscribe. Apparently, that's the best way for people to actually subscribe or gift subs. But I wouldn't do that. That would be so cliche. That would be so incredibly cliche.
Able to determine if someone died. For legal and privacy reasons, we require documentation, such as a death certificate or an online obituary. Once this is confirmed, Patreon will
See, this is a normal reading in a video. The foreign guy was fucking
initiate payout and deprecate the account.
When they say deprecate, I assume that they mean in the software sense of like replace or remove. I'm guessing they don't just like publicly slack you off.
In some rare exceptions, if a death is publicly known, namely someone that attracts media attention, we might reach out to the account and ask for a response within a set time frame. Then if there is no response, we will remove the page.
There you go. Thank God I didn't say it, because Navo Pavo just subscribed without me having to say subscribe. It's pretty crazy.
So if the account was managed for them, there would be a response and we would not remove it.
That last sentence seems to suggest that I could bequeath my Patreon account to somebody in my will. My heirs could continue collecting money from it, presumably leading to a protracted civil war over who got my password. Like, I would seemingly leave it to one person, but then change my mind at the last second, and the kingdom would be plunged into conflict. There'd be some dragons involved.
This is really good.
Also, a cool pirate lady who was just really there, having fun. Finally,
I was so surprised. I was so surprised when I saw her as the pirate queen. That was legendary. That was actually, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it was crazy.
And this one's a little bit different. Nebula are a streaming service. You might have seen them sponsoring my videos and also producing The Prince and Dracula's Ex-Girlfriend. When people sign up to Nebula using...
I love that part when she talked to the Lannister and was like, now I want you to fuck one of my wives. And I was like, holy shit.
My link specifically, I get a cut of that. And I could bequeath that income stream to somebody, but there's an extra layer to it. Nebula is owned by the creators. I'm not just on it. I actually own a little piece of the company and I get to vote on some of the things they do. My stake in the company could be bequeathed, but as for my voting rights... apparently those policies are still being written at time of recording. Nebula's a young company, and I guess when they started out, this understandably wasn't high on the list of priorities.
Zionists.
And this is where the absurdity of these death jobs started to hit me, because I'm trying to plan what's going to happen to my YouTube channel when I die, but it's not just my channel. Nebula is owned by the creators collectively. I can't really separate my piece of it from everyone else's. And the same is true of YouTube. There's a behind-the-scenes crew on PhilosophyTube. They work really hard on it. And more than that, there's all of
Thank you, Roy.
You who make the fan art and the comments and who...
There's a Nebula co-op. I don't give a fuck what they are. They fuck with my brother, JT, because they're fucking Zionist cucks. So, fuck them.
The live shows and who moderate the community spaces and stuff. This is not just one individual's achievement, but the law requires me to act like it is. Tamara Nice says digital remains and the difficulty of disposing with them after death.
Oh, wait, what? Yeah, Second Thought got basically removed from his, calling out Palestinian genocide comments. Yes. You learned it here if you didn't know it.
Those is something pretty important about life.
So consider that when you're giving your money.
Which is that it's not an individual achievement. I mean, of course it's not, right? That's why it hurts when we lose somebody, because we lose a piece of ourselves too. Ironically, dying is a very social activity.
Digital production requires more than a single user, which becomes more obvious when a death happens. Blogging and other social media platforms are designed with single users or authors in mind. However, dying and death create glitches that expose the collaborative nature of digital production. Death makes these networked relations more apparent. The problem, as I elaborate below, is that the platforms that enable illness blogging and other collaboratively produced communicative traces are designed with individual authors, not communities, in mind.
And here's where we reach the twist. Because all this stuff so far has been about individuals struggling to face death, but institutions, companies, governments also struggle to face death. This is a video about Gaza, and climate change, and COVID, and whatever the next thing is in that list.
And before we go into that list, I think this is a perfect moment for today's lovely, lovely streaming experience to slowly come to an end. This was fun. This was a very good one. I really enjoyed it. Now I'm going to go and make myself very large, very unhealthy, very covered in cheese and sausage type of sandwiches, okay? I got some leftover lamb that I'm going to stick in that thick, cheesy substance. I have the most crazy 10 out of 10 hot sauce that will make me regret being alive and having bodily functions tomorrow, hoping that I die from the piece of paper I swallowed today. So if I don't come back tomorrow, I want to just say thank you to all the beautiful chatters, to all those who clicked that lovely follow button. If you haven't, the moment is now. You'll literally lose nothing. For all of you joining me regularly, as I continue to promise to do this more often, as you give me more and more shit to do this more often, I will do this more often. An incredible amount of thank you to all the subscribers. Genuinely, this would not be financially feasible to do without you guys. We're getting closer and closer to that stable 1,000. We reach it every month, but it falls, etc., which is normal because of the gift subs. I'm sure we will reach it this month as well. Thank you very much for joining me. A ultra special thank you to all my lovely mods, without whom I would not be able to do this in any fucking way. From Toasty Android to Pandas to Eco Waves to, sorry if I missed anybody who was here today. Thank you to all the regulars, right? Exclamation point Discord, and join the Discord channel. It's a massive community over there where you can basically have the easiest of times figuring out when I stream, because I'm a idiotic dude that doesn't fucking do it regularly. And follow me on fucking Instagram, dude. Like, follow your good boy on Instagram. That's I post stories there. You can see my degeneracy, and I always post stories about when I'm actually going to stream. That's my like weakest social or whatever the fuck. There you go. Weakest fucking social. Schedule. Leftists don't have schedules. Absolutely. Come in here and follow this little Yugopnik. Send me fucking messages. I post stupid shit. I need to post more often. But yeah, come follow me. Let's hit that 4,000 mark on good old Instagram. And look out for a new official Yugopnik video. I'm making basically a list of the most unhinged right-wing organizations and cults, so that you don't have to. That will probably literally be the title of the video. But anyways, again, thank you to all the subs, to all the follows, and most importantly, to all the mods. Following you on Instagram right now. Thank you so much. Thanks again for the stream. No, thank you for joining me. And join me next time, which will most likely be on Friday, but I will do my best to do it tomorrow. If it is tomorrow, it's going to be extremely early, because my girlfriend has like some sort of holiday. It's not a birthday, but we got to celebrate that. So it's going to be at that's going to start at 7 p.m. So I'm going to have to probably start streaming very, very early. But yeah, join the Discord. Follow me on good old Instagram. Follow me, of course, on Twitter and all the shit where you probably already do. And I really look forward to seeing you next time. Again, the schedule always changes. Check back in, see how it's doing, and you will always know when I'm going to be streaming. Now I'm going to send you over to Denims. Go show Denims the power and toxicity, lack of toxicity of our beautiful community. Say hello, and again, thank you very much for joining me today, and see you either tomorrow or on Friday. Most likely both days, hopefully both days. Many kisses, many signs of respect and love, and see you soon. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Mwah. Now go raid, baby.